Sorry. My power went out for like 1 second and then our internet keeps cycling. Yeah, I don't know. For power, I don't know if what was I saying? Something about making fun of top Asians? It was almost like exactly at 9. Our internet's or our wait, my other camera light didn't even come back up. Wait, is my audio even working? Oh, it is. Okay, cool. Razor just texted me and said, on my way homeless. Can't even think of a good joke. On my way homeless. Blame the bourgeoisie. I can't spell anything. How the fuck do you spell bourgeoisie? B-O-U-G... Was, yeah, I don't know. Bourgeois... But too many letters. The middle class. What? Middle class is not generally termed as the bourgeoisie. Bourgeoisie. Too many letters. Classic middle class activity. Sorry, my power went out. If you guys didn't hear, my power went out for like a second, which means that my internet obviously got ticked off. And my internet gets really mad and cycles, so I had to unplug it and then plug it back in. I will assume that Crowder also attacked me with his top Asian thing. Again, I still didn't hear anything about why this is Asian. I thought he meant the owner class, which was not like the not what I would consider the middle class. I would consider the middle class as something that didn't really exist. When the term bourgeoisie was established, it was like the owner class. It would be like, I guess if we're talking about like small business owners maybe, but hi. What was it? Baker. You know what? Let's stop getting distracted by this and actually watch what I was supposed to watch, and then wait, did that all close? God damn it. All my shit got fucked up. My computer didn't even actually turn off, so I'm kind of annoyed that all my tabs got fucked up. Alright, I want to still watch the Jill Stein retard posting. I got distracted by the Steven Crowder racism. Let's go back to other types of racism. Maybe that was the Texas power gods being like, get back on track.
Prosperous future, not
because remember, we're talking about how Jill Stein's a piece of shit.
Just for Black America, but for all of America, right? Whereas,
and this is, I guess, her running mate, who literally there's no information on his Wikipedia besides the fact that he went to school or whatever.
If you continue to torment humanity with the most brutal imperialist state ever to exist in human history, then we're coming up on a 9/11 war.
Oh, he's a tanky. Tyrannax, why did you have to do that?
All right, Jill and I are going to do something, a march in Detroit. Well, what did Malcolm say about chicken?
Again, Steven Crowder lives in Austin, Texas, so maybe he's sitting outside my house, like pulling the power cord when he heard us criticizing him. He does hate women.
It's coming home to roost. If we keep exporting this violence all over the globe, then it is going to keep coming right back here to our homes. And that's something that doesn't just concern black and brown folk. That's something that concern all folk. Last thing that I'll say on this, you know, in response to your question, DJ.
See, this is actually a great example of why like third parties can be effective to retards, because this is if this was the rhetoric of somebody who had power, cool. I support it. The thing is, it's not the rhetoric of somebody who has power. This guy has no power. This guy works for a feckless party, the Green Party, who he literally said he would never work for a party when we did a cursory glance on what he was about. The Green Party is a joke. And all they do, and the only reason they still exist is because they take money from Russia. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a real thing that happens. You could call it a conspiracy, I guess. I don't know, whatever. That's not important. But this is a real thing that happens. The Green Party does take money from Russia. At least Jill Stein does. Their messaging has always been anti. It's like the fantasy of the Democrats. Like it's like the fake progressives. They're the unrealistic progressives who, if they actually wanted to be progressive, would work within the Democratic Party and the democratic system. It's a fucking fantasy to have a third party. And yeah, I think that third parties are not inherently a bad thing when we talk about local politics, but when we're talking about on a presidential scale, the idea of thinking a third party candidate is nothing but a spoiler is laughable. It is laughable on every single metric and in every single existence. Like, I don't know, like the Whig Party was a thing at some point, but like that still was like very not that relevant. We work in a two-party system, and if you give a shit about making a change, you have to work within that system. You have to. You can have coalitions within the Democratic Party, but you have to work. Like Bernie Sanders fucking understood that. Why do you think he was able to make such a change? Why do you think Bernie Sanders, who was like an independent, but he still, when he ran for president, he was still a fucking Democrat? Because how else do you get to be a notice? How else does anyone give a shit about you? Because you have to be part of the two-party system. You can bitch and moan about the two-party system all you want, and that's fine. I don't necessarily begrudge you for bitching about the two-party system. I don't like it. I like ranked choice voting more, especially when it comes to like not necessarily presidential elections, but definitely for like a party election. I think I would be okay with ranked choice voting, and especially for like some or not some, but like for local elections, I think that would be great. I think ranked choice voting would be great. Thing is, we don't live in that world, okay? We can live in that world, but how do we get there? How do we get there? Do you think the Republicans are going to be a force to support that? No, of course not. Do you think that the independents are going to have enough pull to make change, considering they can't win any elections, to get that done? Of course not. Do you think the Democrats could be amenable to that? Absolutely, they have. So if you're a serious political candidate and you're left-leaning, you will be a fucking Democrat. You don't have to play the same fucking Democratic games the same way that everyone else does. You don't have to be a Nancy Pelosi. But if you want to be effective in politics, you got to stop acting like you're the main character of the fucking story. You have to stop acting like you're just some weird radical or whatever while you're taking money from Russia. You have to stop acting that way if you want to do anything useful. This is like you gotta stop bitching about the fact that you don't get enough time on I don't know, MSNBC, because you're not worth it. You're not even good at grifting. And that's again why Jill Stein's a fucking loser who is completely not worth your time. Didn't run as a yeah, like he tried to run as I mean, he's been an independent like for his local or whatever, but like, yeah, no, he knows how to play the game. You can't not be part of the, like, the idea of, oh, I'm so mad about how I feel so powerless, I'm just not gonna play the game. Okay, well then you're not gonna change anything. Just sit in your corner and be mad. Well, I guess the people who actually give a shit are going to work with and coalition build with the Democratic Party. You don't have to be like the biggest stan for the Democratic Party. I fucking hate the Democratic Party. But I'm a Democrat. I'm a registered Democrat. I vote Democrat down the ballot. I will always do that. Because I trust them more than I trust the right, of course. And I know that third parties don't have anything to give. The people, the loudest voices in the... Think about, like, the loudest voices online leftist spaces. They're the fucking retard tankies. And do those people have any policy positions? No! Hassan doesn't actually have any policy positions. As much as Hassan is a entertaining streamer, he is worthless when it comes to actually giving a shit about how to change things. And he himself has said that. I'm not making any even insult to him. He said that. He's a, why are people listening to me? I'm just some idiot on the internet. Yeah, so he's fucking worthless, which is why he does this weird tanky shit, because the tankies are the fucking loudest ones. He wants to appeal to everybody. I guess I saw something on Twitter. I don't know if you guys know about this, because I don't know about it, but I guess Ethan and what's her name got into it again somehow. Frogan. I think Ethan Klein and Frogan got into it again. I just saw some Twitter discourse for a little bit. I don't know if anyone has like a thread or something, but yeah. Hey, welcome back. Yeah, sorry, my internet or my power went out for a second, which made my internet cycle, and I had to get in there with my wires. Yeah, but I saw like yesterday night. So this is like new, fresh drama, which is funny because I was watching old Vosh videos of when I was watching old Vosh videos of him reacting to Ethan and Hassan's fallout, and then I was like, what year is this? But Frogan was being like, or there's people criticizing basically that Ethan Klein criticizes Frogan because he can't criticize Hassan. And that's kind of true. To be like, no, we fucking hate Frogan. Frogan's horrible. Frogan's an absolute piece of shit who was like super pro, like not even like like the freedom fighter, like pro Hamas type thing, like literally like all of those Jewish babies should have died type of thing. Like, she's horrible. Beef between Ethan Klein and Twitch streamer Hassanabi Mod Frogan resumes. This motherfucker never shuts up. Ethan Klein has never heard this historical analysis. What? Oh, because Ethan Klein, okay, so notice that Ethan Klein's reacting to a person whose name is Mao Wow. So we know what we're talking about. This is obviously a tanky, or at least a Marxist-Leninist, but obviously a tanky. So Ethan Klein is responding to Mao Wow. Mao Wow. Do Americans actually know why bin Laden did all that, or do they all believe he hated that they can vote, or SMT? He did actually hate that. He literally did hate the idea of anyone like simping for did we forget about the discourse that even happened recently about like reading the letter to America where he literally said he hated us for our freedom? He did quite literally hate America because they couldn't. Oh my god, we're like 7 levels deep here. Okay, so this Mao Wow person. Wait. Okay, I'm a little confused what happened. Did Mao Wow post this, or what is going on here? So did Mao Wow say "Do Americans" and then post a picture? What is happening? I am so confused about this. I don't even know what to say. I assume Ethan Klein is in the right in this particular position. I don't know. Can anyone else find me something else more? I appreciate you finding that, but that was insane, and I don't understand. Isn't it both in the letter? I don't even understand. The point is, I don't understand who said what, because there's like 17 people that were part of this. This is it? What? I saw people being really pissed about it on Twitter. Hold on, let's see if I can find it. You know, actually, I don't care. Whatever. If you guys can find it, but whatever. Point being that, I swear I saw something like yesterday. Maybe it was just... I've been having some weirdly vivid dreams because I haven't been drinking as much. I'm drinking a lot now, but last night I wasn't, and I just get really weird dreams. Oh my god, I had a dream the other night that Bernie Sanders was getting mad at me because I wasn't a socialist. I was like, well, I'm like a democratic socialist. He's like, no, it's not enough. And he was like shaming, like, he was like the head of the classroom, and it was in like a college classroom, like one of those like cascading ones where it like kind of leads into, and then he like kept like shitting on me, like pointing out like everything he would say. He's like, you're not doing this. And I was like, stop. Made me feel really bad. Well, maybe, hold on, let's see if I can find... God, we're never gonna get through this. It's because Jill Stein's not that interesting. Ethan Klein Rogan. Doubles down 11 months ago. 2 hours ago. Deranged Sneeko fan ambushes. Ethan, what does that do with Frogan? Months ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, years ago. I don't know. Maybe Sneeko said something about like loving, or wait, is this the H? Wait, this isn't the right channel. Is it? Oh, wow, they really, I guess, tapered off there. Was right, it's not enough. Sanders is definitely a communist. No, he's pretty, I think, practical. Dropped some pretty hefty hints about her a few months ago. I think it was about her, at least. Also, didn't Frogan not... Again, Frogan's, like, insane. I used to be, like, a fan of Frogan because I thought she was, like, funny. But then I realized she's just... Okay, I'll be honest. I want to be mega honest right now, alright? Are we in the honest zone? It's not something that I haven't said before. I'm from California. I'm also from America. Those are not mutually exclusive things, obviously. I grew up generally pretty wealthy, right? In a very white community. So think of Second Thought. I grew up the same way that Second Thought did. Or Vosh did, I guess. Or Hassan did. I think that people who are not necessarily politically their entire life have been exposed to politics don't really think about it, especially if you grow up in an upper middle class family, right? So I think that Hassan and Second Thought and myself have a weakness that is a weird form of guilt in some ways. That we feel like we want to understand. This is like a lefty thing specifically. We want to understand. We understand inequities, right? We understand the shit that America does that is unjust. We understand all those things, but we also understand that we've never experienced them. So I think we overcompensate when it comes to hearing other people's voices. And I think that's a very liberal thing to do. I don't think it's inherently bad to listen to those voices. I just think the overcompensation happens more often than that. If you don't have a good enough base, or you're pushed into either one, you're too afraid of being seen as a bigot. Because obviously you're a liberal person, right? You're not a bigot, you're not a racist, like, and you're too afraid to, like, you feel too privileged to have your own voice in a way. And it sounds like I'm saying right-wing talking points, and it is if they were actually correct in what they actually said. Where, yeah, there is an element of that, like this cancel culture bullshit, but it's not like because you get banned on Twitter for saying the N-word. If we're actually talking about cancel culture shit, it's people like Hassan being too afraid to go against his own audience. It's people like Second Thought, who actually, it's funny, I was watching a video earlier that Hakeem was responding to Second Thought's criticism of North Korea, and Hakeem was watching a Second Thought video. I was watching Vosh watching it. It was a threefer, I guess, and Second Thought was correct on his criticism of North Korea, but Hakeem and Second Thought are friends now, and I think it's because he's a person of color who has a different experience, where he's too willing to take that he's wrong. And I think that's what happened to Second Thought. Was Hakeem, somebody who lives in Iraq, somebody who's, not a dumb person at all. He's not just some random dude. He's a very smart person. I think he radicalized him, and then he also radicalized Hassan through Second Thought and his own behavior. And I think a lot of that comes from this, like, I've never had to struggle in the trenches type thing, where I'm letting voices of color be, I don't want to be seen as, I'm too afraid to be seen as racist that I'm not gonna like ever talk against. And that's, again, sounds like a fucking joke, but I honestly think that's what's happening. I think that's honestly what's happening with Hassan's community. I honestly think that was what turned fucking Second Thought into a little bitch boy, a tanky, which obviously turns them into insane genocide approval bigots, because they're too wanting to be seen as the most progressive. So they're just going to go with the most I've been in a war zone at, like, I mean, you see that with like the Houthi thing with Hassan, the Houthi thing, where like all of a sudden the Houthis are super fucking cool, where it's like, can you not kind of balance it out? That's where I think Vosh gets a lot of shit for being like, coming from the same place, but he also his dad's always been in politics. Like he's a lot of experience with dealing with it, and like he's obviously an autistic freak when it comes to that. The Houthis are not based. What are they doing right now? Unless they're like not being pirates, then sure. Yes, I know Vosh's dad is a 3D animator. I'm saying he's always been involved in talking about politics. My point being that I think that a lot of the relation of becoming a tanky comes from a privileged background where you feel like you don't have enough you don't feel confident enough in your own positions, that you need a lot of support from the other communities, because the tankies are the loudest ones. They're fucking annoying as shit. In like the same way that like Frogan's annoying as shit. That's what I'm bringing it back to. Frogan's an annoying person. If Hassan were to unmod Frogan, she would make a fucking mess of it, call him probably like a fake Muslim or something. She'd go off. Like, she's like a psycho bitch in that way. And I think a lot of people are just afraid of that. Houthis fucked Yemen as an Iranian proxy. I mean, there's no based element of that. That's just way too all of the old Houthi Yemen conflict is way too complicated to necessarily say either one is like based. This isn't like a Ukraine-Russia thing where one side is clearly in the right. It's too complicated to ever say either one of them is based. Blow up all that medicine that all those people are getting. It's not your Amazon goods, my guy. We're talking about, like, things that people are going to die because of the goods that they're not getting. It's not like frivolous things. We're talking about an entire supply line. We're talking about medication. We're talking about physical things, like to build, like for your infrastructure. We're talking about things that would maybe keep up a bridge. We're talking about all sorts of things. They're not like picking the Amazon shipping lane. That's not a thing. They're not base at all. They're just, you know, pirates. We will still get them and you think you're okay with medication prices going up? No, we won't get them. A lot of they're not just going to America. You realize that, right? They're not going to America only. I don't even think the majority of what they've seized have even been American ships. They're not going to, like, we're talking about going to like disenfranchised like aid. Not necessarily like via a country, but I'm just saying things that people need. We're talking about like wheelchairs and shit. Like, I'm not saying that's everything, but you gotta understand these are not frivolous things being sent. We're talking about medication that's needed. We're talking about like diabetes shit. Like, we're talking about medical equipment. Blame the Israeli government and America for this? That's a really great argument. You're very smart. Well, it seems like, is he doing it? Or is it some, like, weirdos that... Do you think that that's effective? Can you fucking think for a second? Can you think for a second here? Hold on. Take a step back. Hold on. Nobody say anything for a second. Take a step back here. Do you think that them being slightly annoying and disrupting trade that is going to fuck over a few people globally is going to what? Have America completely disarm Israel? You really think that's effective? No. No, it's not how the world has worked. Why would what piracy happened when we talk about like imperial England? Piracy happened all the time, and there were some pirates that said it was for the right of wherever they were at. Do you think that made the East Indian Company or whatever stop existing? No, you're just pirates. The idea of an ethical pirate is you're Pirates of the Caribbean right now. It's a fantasy. You're falling into this and you're being very silly. If feminists didn't kill people, then women would not have the right. What feminists kill? Are you just saying things? What feminists? I'm curious about this. What feminist murder happened that made feminism happen? No, which murder was first wave? Do you think it was like a wave, like it's in like a RTS, like it was a wave of feminists that went to like fight your troops, like you're playing a tower defense. Which feminist murders were significant? You just said first wave feminism. I'm asking you a question. You want to do Discord or ban? Yeah, Command and Conquer Feminist Edition. I mean, again, political violence is not inherently like bad, and it's unrelated. But the thing is, you would want to do effective political violence. You know, I would assume that you would support South Africa's independence, right? I didn't say that. Would you support South Africa's independence? Oh, you're wasting your time? All right, that's fine. I guess I'm wasting mine too. I'll go ahead and fix that for you, retard.
Envy. I would, you know, one doesn't just concern black and brown folk. That's something that concern all folk. Last thing that I'll say on this, you know, in response to your question, DJ Envy, I would, you know, one version that we get of that question, you know, regularly is like, well, you're throwing your vote away, you know, right? That's the other version of it. Okay.
See, the thing is, that could have been an interesting conversation if this guy wasn't a piece of shit, but I guess, you know, he got too emotional.
And the thing is in this broke electoral college, and by the way, the Green Party stands for abolishing the electoral college.
Probably a Green Party stand, am I right? And the idea that the Houthis are doing anything is silly. If they had a plan, sure, but like, they don't. They just wanted to do what they were going to do anyways. It's not like they didn't do piracy before this. They still were doing piracy. The Houthis are... Oh, famously, the Houthis were fine and peaceful beings that didn't do any sort of like war activities, and then all of a sudden they are principally, even though they're literally fighting a civil war against other Muslims, why the fuck would the Houthis give a shit about Palestinians? They don't. You know what would make a lot more sense? If they just wanted to do what they wanted to do anyways and just use it as an excuse to have people like that be hoodwinked, and people like Hassan to be hoodwinked. I didn't say that they don't do it. I said it's not common. We looked it up. We said that it's not a common thing to do. It's like an emergency procedure. Are you still on this? What the fuck? You came in... Wait. You came in trying to disprove what I said last week, and you're still incorrect of what I said? Or are you making a goof? Are we goofing? Oh, alright, fair enough. These are Shia. Majority of Palestinians are heretic. Oh, was it Shia and Sunni? Are Palestinians Sunni? No, we looked it up. Generally speaking, it doesn't happen like for fun. I don't remember exactly what I said, but I know the gist of what I said. I know I said that it was something that happens, but not often. Yeah, because we looked it up specifically. I think Avocado linked it, something related to that. Palestinians are Sunni heretics in the eyes of the Houthis. Yeah, again, like the idea of taking the Houthis seriously is silly, considering they're not like a principled... It's kind of racist, I think, especially because you only hear that from Western sources, like Western, like tanky adjacent sources being like Hassan, which I know Hassan is Turkish, but let's be real, that's still in the West. That doesn't mean because he's Muslim that he gives a shit about any of this, because again, that would also be racist. The idea that like the only people, only like, I guess specifically on the online space that like support the Houthis as like some sort of like insane freedom fighters who can do no wrong, who are principled, is laughable. They are just fantastical. Like the Ukrainians, for example, are people who are absolutely in the right. They are principled in their positions, but that does not mean that I'm going to say every single fucking thing that Ukraine does is like super pogs. I support Ukraine in most everything. But if Ukraine started, like, I don't know, taking over civilian vessels, I wouldn't support that. But the thing is, these people, like Hassan, and I guess our friend here, Mr. A3 or Mr. Anderson, whatever. That's what I feel like I should call him, but whatever. Those people would support no matter what happened because they're campus. They don't care. They don't have any actual philosophical or consistent like moral beliefs on what is a right and wrong thing of war. Killing is a neutral act, right? It is an act that could be for good, self-defense, or could be for bad, murder, right? The act itself really is to be determined by what it is used, or the context of such, you know, that it happens. If you hijack if you do piracy for the greater good, like you're a, like I guess what we did in, I guess it wouldn't necessarily be piracy, but like we stopped Japanese oil going to, the reason why we got 9/11, sorry, Pearl Harbored was because we were capturing Japanese oil freights. And you could say that's piracy, but why was it happening? Because for one, they were going through our waters, and for two, they were a direct enemy. And then what did they do? Obviously, they were upset of us doing that, and then they declared war on us and Pearl Harbored us. What we did led to getting Pearl Harbor, but whose fault was that? Was that our fault for taking over those vessels? No, it was their fucking decision. So the idea of like that the Houthis randomly taking over civilian freighters that are from multiple different nations, thinking that's going to stop America and Israel from its genocidal, or Israel specifically, its genocide in Gaza, is, for one, juvenile, and for two, fucking retarded. That's obviously just an excuse to do what they were already going to do. I might as well tell you that, I was speeding because if America wants to respect the road laws, you want me to respect the road laws? Well, what about the Palestinians? Oh, sorry, I stole your car? What about the Palestinians? Come on, don't be such an asshole about the Palestinian people, okay? You're doing no good for them at all. You're making them actually look worse. So shut the fuck up using them as an excuse for your poor behavior. I think it's actually one of the most horrific things to say that you're doing it for them, which again, as I think Christopher said, or Tyrone, I'm sorry, they don't even have the same like ideological base. They're both like Sunni and of Islam. They don't even get along, and I mean that like not on a personal level. I mean that like the Houthis would hate the Palestinians on like theory grounds. They just think that we're stupid and just assume Muslim. Oh, it must be getting along, right? Nazi, yeah, of course the Nazi party called themselves. A lot of places that wanted to use socialist, what are we talking about here? Oh, we're just saying literally that it was called that. Yes, I mean, yeah, obviously Nazis were not socialist. Because socialism is pretty directly correlated with freedom, and I think we could definitely agree that is not the case when it comes to the Nazis.
Okay,
Anyways,
and
speaking of Nazis,
you know, right?
That's I don't know. It's just this guy gives me like black separatist vibes, which, you know, not that far away from. Call me crazy. I don't like ethno-states. I don't like any ethno-state rhetoric. I think that you don't get to have your own race-based country. I think that's fucking stupid, and I don't know if he is, but he just giving me that vibe.
The other version of it, okay? And the thing is in this broke electoral college, and by the way, the Green Party stands for abolishing the electoral college.
Oh, I also like just saying things.
Okay, and so that hangover from slavery and bringing in ranked choice voting. In
a hangover? Is the electoral college a hangover from slavery? I mean, I know it existed during the time. College slavery? Racist origins? Who this? Closest in... Oh, of course it had colorblind... Yeah, we know like 5th Amendment and all that shit. White, black people, American. Never to keep them in there. Oh, voter... Yeah, of course it was racist as fuck. This also... Yeah, I mean, we knew this. Wait, is the Electoral College directly because of this? Hold on, I gotta read that. In a colorblind political system possible under the... Wait, is a colorblind political system possible under the Constitution? If it is, the Supreme Court evisceration of the Voter Rights Act in 2013 did little to help the matter. While Black people in America today are not experiencing 1950s levels of voter suppression, efforts to keep them and other citizens from participating in elections began within 24 hours of the Shelby County holding ruling and have only increased since then. The Shelby County oral arguments, Justice Antonin Scalia considered whatever... Wait. Okay, I don't want to read all... just wanted the historical aspect of that. Okay, I think that's right here. Right, from the get-go, the Electoral College has produced no shortage of lessons impact racial entitlement in selecting the president. History buffs and Hamilton fans are aware that in its most major failure, the Electoral College produced a tie between Thomas Jefferson and... okay. Seated, which is say that it operated in one might... Okay, this is a little bit of an opinion piece. Okay, whatever. I don't know why I'm... Let's just keep going.
In all voting systems, so that you're not putting people on opposite sides where they bang on each other, right? The real criminal red and blue is not the honorable street organizations like the Bloods and the Crips. The real criminal gangs, red and blue, are the Democrats and Republicans. And right now, they're being encouraged to bang on each other in public.
All right, lunchroom politics here, huh? I hate this so much because it's just so juvenile. Like, you have to work within the system. I mean, you can make your own fantasy, play D&D, I guess. I don't know. We live in the world that we live in. You can't... Martin Luther King would not have made anywhere near the change he did if he just completely rejected working with anybody. He was famously known for working with people. That's why he had such an impact as he did. Like, the idea of, like, okay, we can't work within the system, we gotta, like, just have our own messaging. You can have your own messaging, but you have to... Bernie Sanders, again, he had such a big reach and why he made such a difference. He literally changed our political landscape because he was somebody who worked within the system.
If you have ranked choice voting, then people are going to be drawn to the middle rather than drawn to extremes. But let's go back to the question about.
You were gonna come with my medication in hand. Oh, teaching her bad habits. Make her do it again. Oh my God. It is cute, but you just teach them bad habits.
Yeah.
Throwing your vote away. In this electoral college system,
But you came back so early.
Someone was over. I didn't want to.
What does her name start with? Oh. That's not good. Maybe it's a good distraction, whatever.
all y'all
Well, they missed you, apparently. They're all doing wiggle woggles. Alright.
throwing
damn
your
it.
votes away.
We're
Because unless you
literally
live in one of
7
them
minutes
4
into
or
this,
5 swing
and we've been
states,
streaming-
it is
well,
already
it's
decided
even
that your
after the
state is
internet
going to
went
go
down.
either
Wait,
blue or
where does it
red
stay? I
before
don't
you
know.
ever get into the
I
blue.
don't think it's been 2.5
So
hours
instead
since the
of
internet went down.
throwing your vote away on team red or team blue when it don't
Throwing your vote away on team red or team blue, you retard, instead of actually having your vote matter for one or the other, throw your vote away on mine, third party candidate. That's it's amazing to say that you were throwing your vote away to vote for the right or the left. Or sorry, the Republicans or the Democrats. Who do you think are the ones who win? Every single time!
Why doesn't the fucking Green Party try to get some Congress people?
Because they are grifters! They don't care! It's all a grift!
It's insane to me.
This is like such an example of why like throwing your vote away for like they just want to get the disillusioned people to like vote for to throw their vote away in their and what's that Paul's ego retard who like is like, well, I'm so sick of like it's like an ego thing literally with the name, but like an ego thing where it's like, well, we're all powerless assholes, okay? We have to understand that none of us matter in the grand scheme of things, okay? Understand that and move on. We all are the same people, every single one of us, none of us matter, but we matter as a collective, okay? I don't mean to do some weird communist bullshit. I mean, like, if you are willing to put down the work to get stuff done, then you matter. Kamala Harris herself is not just mattered by herself, she matters by her team, she matters by her supporters, but she doesn't matter by some random voters being like, no, fuck you, I hate Kamala Harris. No, that person doesn't matter. What matters is what we can do as a society and to create and support and work for. That is what fucking matters. So these assholes are like these anti-electoral fuckheads are just completely, I would say, the most worthless people. I hate them. I hate people who are anti-electoral. I mean, I get being an edgy teen, but when you're like in your like at least, you know, Paul's ego or whatever, when you're in like what, your 40s, you don't get to be entitled to them doing everything that you want, okay? Yeah, get mad at them, but you don't make any change when you're outside of the system. You are no better than a third-party candidate fuckhead when with I don't know, Andrew Yang's like forward party. You can't reach people that way. It's like, oh, well, if in another universe that I was super popular, then I'd be super popular. But you're not. And you'll never be that person because you can't prove yourself to be that now. The people who actually make change work within the fucking system to do it. And if you don't want to work within the system, I don't know, go to Russia or some shit. Go to Cuba or I don't know. Go complain elsewhere. You're worthless.
don't make no difference in the state that you in, why not vote for reparations now? Why not vote for a ceasefire now? Why not build power in a Green Party that is going to give people...
Why not go for a ceasefire? Okay, I don't understand why he keeps saying vote for a cease party now. Cease. Wait, is that what he said?
Difference in the state that you in, why not vote for reparations now? Why not vote for
Because that's not how the government works. Why not vote? Does this guy not even understand how the government? Why not vote? Like, this should be like disqualifying for any serious political. You can't just vote. That's not how like legislation works. I mean, I'm a dumbass where I don't understand like the ins and out of every aspect of getting a bill on the floor. I understand that, but I understand that it's also a complicated thing. You can't just like, I don't know, Donald Trumpian style, just like, I don't know, executive action things, because not only would that be insane, when you do an executive action, it could be easily overturned by somebody else. It's not a good way to get it as policy. It's a very stupid thing. It's a Trumpian thing, which is what he did. Trump did a lot of executive actions that were fucking stupid. He thinks like a Saint Row character, literally. Absolutely politically illiterate so far.
for a ceasefire now? Why not build power?
You can't vote. Again, you don't vote for a ceasefire. Again, we don't have the power to like, not everything goes up to like a referendum. Like that would be insane if we had a I do think referendums are like really cool when it comes to like, especially like local ordinances, and even like state politics. But I think like I guess the only thing I would be okay with would be like codifying a Roe v. Wade type thing. I guess that would be kind of a cool referendum, just because I know that we would win. But we don't do referendums like that because, for one, that our system's not really set up for that, to do it on like a have we ever had a federal referendum? Like in like modern politics? History. No, let's Colorado. Commission Dylan to make the Jills to make a. I mean. Honestly, I would love for Dylan Burns to have some position in as like, I don't know, like a junior ambassador to Ukraine. That'd be fire. But I don't know if that's actually a feasible thing. That didn't really give me enough information of what I was looking for in my cursory glance. But I think that would be cool. I think that he's more of a journalist. He's not a politician, so I don't even think he'd want it. I don't know why I said that. I think we should all just support Dylan Burns. Dylan Burns TV on Twitch and on YouTube.
In the Green Party that is going to give people an actual viable third-party alternative so that we can get
Really? That's viable, huh?
these thugs on either side of the aisle to behave like grown folk.
Well, so you raise an interesting point around throwing your vote away, and there's actually numbers on that. Dr. Stein, you raised over $7.3 million for a recount in 2016, a recount of votes that probably actually do matter. In Michigan, for example, you acquired 51,463 votes. Of course, Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton by 10,704 votes, and she lost by half a percentage point in Michigan. In Wisconsin, 31,006 votes. You acquired. Trump beat Hillary Clinton by 22,177 votes. In Pennsylvania, 49,485 votes, and Donald Trump beat her by a little over 67,000 votes. You engaged.
I'm going to turn subtitles on because I just want to make sure I hear the numbers correctly.
In raising money for a recount because our votes actually do matter. Can you talk about the results of that recount in those 3 states that I just named?
Sure. And let me say that every vote counts, and we believe because every vote counts, that's why we don't want the Electoral College telling us that some
Wait, sorry, what was her question?
Votes actually
it seems
do
like she's
matter.
clearly going to dodge. So I want to make sure I know her.
1,485 votes, and Donald Trump beat her by a little over 67,000 votes. You engaged in raising money for a recount because our votes actually do matter. Can you talk about the results of that recount in those 3 states that I just...
Okay, so she's asking what the result. I don't know what the results of. I didn't realize there was a recount, and this is news to me. My guess is she's not going to answer the question. Jill Stein. I assume she's got the facts here, so we'll learn. I assume.
Name.
Sure. And let me say that every vote counts, and we believe because every vote counts, that's why we don't want the Electoral College telling us that some states matter and others don't.
Absolutely.
We believe, and
Yeah.
in terms of how we are conducting our campaign, we're in swing states, we're in red states, we're in blue states. We are all about building power and really
Not answering the
helping
question.
to help people to grab the power that belongs to us. The fallacy there, which is what,
There's not a fallacy. It was a question.
the Democrats in particular harp on, and it's not true. The idea that votes for Greens came at the expense of votes for
She
Hillary.
didn't ask that. She literally didn't ask that. She's not listening. Well, you're not listening to a black woman? What the fuck?
Clinton. We actually know from exit polls and just from talking to people who vote for us, and it's about 61% of everybody who votes for us would not have come out to vote. So those votes did.
Not answering the question at all. She asked, what was the outcome of that referendum? Not reference that at all.
Didn't come from Hillary Clinton, and some of them actually came from Trump too. Yeah. So if you actually crunch the numbers, what you see is that the outcome would not have changed at all if we
At
weren't
all?
in the... Yes. No Electoral College vote would have
Would have
changed.
changed.
Exactly. None. If you calculate the fact, 60%, 61%.
Well, she didn't ask about you being there. She said about the recount that I guess you... See, I don't know what she was talking about, but I'm not at all educated on... It seems like she doesn't even know what she's talking about.
Percent of our votes would not have voted one bit, and of the
I
remaining,
would love to do that calculation, but the only thing
I'd
is
be
that's
glad
an
to share it
exit-
with you.
No,
It's
I'm
an
not.
exit
I
poll.
actually am. I'm a lawyer because I don't do math like that. But what I will say is, we don't
Oh
really
shit! Black woman lawyer. She's gonna get cooked. No, should always be afraid of a black woman lawyer.
know that. Like folks come in, even, and you all know this too,
Well,
from
then
Ralph
let me-
Nader
let
to
me-
you, right? Folks will say that
Ralph
they're going to
Nader,
vote
who
for
was
you.
one of about 6 third-party candidates.
Again, black women are the cornerstone of our this thing that keeps up our democracy. Always respect the sisters.
In that
Sure,
election.
but
Ralph Nader.
But you don't know what my point was going to be.
All
My
right, go
point was
ahead.
just going
Go
to
ahead.
be that
Yeah, she's trying to go into her like spiel.
folks will say, and it's happened to Hillary Clinton, it's happened to Kamala Harris, it's happened to Donald Trump. Folks will say in a poll that they were going to vote or they are going to vote for this person.
That's
and it's
true. You
Exit-
never
exit
know.
polling,
You don't know.
But
Yeah,
but we
that's fair.
also know that 1 out of every 3 voters did not vote in the last presidential election.
Do you guys think Jill Stein is racist? Not because of this conversation, just in general. I would say yes. She comes off to me, not like intentionally racist, like she's like a super mega bigot. I think she's more of the I don't know, liberal or not, it's not even right the phrase, like old school racist, where she's like, oh, I don't think black people are bad, but she obviously in the back of her mind probably thinks that they're inferior or something. Like she's like never really been around black people. I guess that would be too nice to say it that way, but I think that she's more of a... I think she'd feel really uncomfortable in Oakland, is what I'm saying.
Election in 2020. 1 out of every 3 eligible voters chose not to vote. And who were they? They were largely, disproportionately, of color, young, and low income. Exactly the people to whom our agenda speaks.
Yeah.
So, a lot about voting is indeterminate, and it's not going to be predicted by polls, because polls, are by definition.
Oh, she's doing the It's kind of funny. She basically says exactly what RFK says, but it doesn't sound like that. So she comes off more reasonable. I wonder what her thoughts are on brainworms and or leaving bears in Central Park.
Who tend to vote.
Sure.
But what we're talking to are people who tend not to vote. Don't they also deserve a vote? And let me also cite the statistics that show the numbers are
What are we talking about?
largely disproportionately of color, young, and low income. Exactly the people to whom our agenda speaks.
Yeah.
So, a lot about voting is indeterminate, and it's not going to be predicted by polls, because polls, are by definition people who tend to vote.
Sure.
But what we're talking to
Polls are not by definition people who tend to vote. What the fuck is that stat? That doesn't even make any sense. Okay, call me. I vote all the time. I've never taken a poll outside of I don't know, some random Twitch ones that are just for fun. Polls are not by definition people who vote? How is she even getting that? That doesn't make any sense. The fuck?
to are people who tend not to vote. Don't they also deserve a vote? And let me also cite the
people who tend to vote. Oh, people who tend to vote talk to people who don't vote. They also deserve a vote. Wait, is this a racism of low expectations? Oh, I'm gonna let that roll. Sorry, I paused that. I think that was so crazy that I should have just let it roll.
Presidential election in 2020, 1 out of every 3 eligible.
The subtitles are having a really big issue with this one.
Voters chose not to vote. And who were they? They were largely, disproportionately of color, young, and low income. Exactly the people to whom our agenda speaks.
Yeah.
So, a lot about voting is indeterminate, and it's not going to be predicted by polls, because polls, are by definition people who tend to vote.
Sure.
But what we're talking to are people who tend not to vote. Don't they also deserve a vote? And let me also cite the statistics that show the numbers are off the charts right now in terms of people who want other options. Yep. This is sampled every year by Gallup and also by Pew. But Gallup shows that the numbers now are 63% who are saying that the two parties are doing such a bad job of serving the public interest that 60.
Well, the third party doesn't do anything. So what she's saying is, I know that it's lesser of two evils, but would you also choose the suicide option? Maybe choose the void. You ever think about that? Maybe just opt out of the whole thing. Just choose the void. Swallow the Kool-Aid here. You ever think about that? I know politics by nature is just arguing, because that's what democracy is all about. It's about nobody being happy. But have you ever thought about just joining the void? About joining ineffective nothingness? That's basically her policy position.
3% say we need another option. We need another major party. So it's amidst all this indeterminate stuff.
Good, Dylan. It should scare you. That's what the third party looks like. Those are the eyes of a third party void. You gotta join eat the bugs, whatever. That's what third parties are. They're so. I hate these subtitles. I know I did this and I don't know how to fix it. I want the subtitles on. I just want to fix the way they look. Okay, whatever.
Yep.
And you're absolutely right. You can't predict a lot of this. Are we going to clamp down?
See, again, her message is basically don't vote. This is an anti-electoral stance, being like, oh yeah, they don't really do enough for you, so vote for me. Throw your vote right into the void. That'll make things better. Just kill yourself. It's if you actually want to do anything, you're not principled for voting for a third party. You're a fucking retard. You might as well not vote, which is exactly what third parties want you to do. They want you to be disillusioned, to either throw their vote into the void by voting for them, or not voting, which is essentially the same thing. She's like an Eldritch, she's like a lich Like a lich queen, dude.
And say, therefore shut down choices,
She
therefore
kind of
shut
looks like one too.
down options when that's what people are demanding. And why are people demanding it? Because they've been thrown under the bus for long enough by both parties. And
See, you know, if you want to be effective, she's using Bernie Sanders language, but Bernie Sanders not a fucking retard. So Bernie Sanders works within the Democratic Party. Because do you think that you're gonna get this rhetoric, or you're gonna get any support from the right? No, this language only speaks to the left. So what are you trying to do? This isn't like at least Andrew Yang's Forward Party was so stupid that it appealed to both. This only would appeal to left-wing people. So then why don't you just run as a Democrat? If you actually cared about making change, you would run as a party that has any power. Instead of being like, I don't know, I want all the things that the left wants. I don't have any plan for having it done, but I'm gonna act like I do, so that what? Who do I spoil it from? Who do I also go to dinner with often? Hold on. You guys missed it. Oh, who do I like to go to dinner with? Oh, looks like Vladimir Putin, huh? Michael Flynn? Jill Stein? Well, it seems to me that there might be a little bit of a reason why I tend to say the things that only take away from the leftist voters. Wink, wink.
they really want other options. So what we're saying is, let's give people those other options. If you're
I do love the status quo, as in I don't want to be Russia. I can't tell if you're being ironic, Freakex, but honestly, America is significantly more stable than any other country. The only way you're going to get to a socialist paradise is not through overthrowing the United States government and having some like LARPy ass like revolution. We're not there, and we never will be. The idea of overthrowing the American government is laughable. Everyone would agree with that, I hope. If you don't agree with that, then I can't. There is nothing to be said, and we don't need to even have this conversation anymore. But if you actually want to make change, we live in a very stable society that is willing to make change. Do you think that Obamacare isn't like an amazingly good progression towards having socialism, like socialist healthcare? It's not there yet. Because we had Trump years, and then we had to recover from the Trump years, but it's something that we are moving towards. Incrementalism is the reality of how you make change. If you think that all things are going to be good in your lifetime, you are living in a fucking fantasy. You think that you're the main character. It doesn't work like that. It's a slow thing over time, and you do it incrementally. You're never going to be happy with politics, and that's good. You should never be, like, satisfied. That's what's great about America, is we're a fucking country of assholes who like to bitch about shit. And how do you get better stuff? Bitching about shit. There's no end game. There's no utopia. And there never should be, because we have different needs and wants as times go by. And we should always want more things and be annoying. We're always going to be annoying assholes. And you know who is cool with that? America. Do you actually work between elections? No, Mistletoe. Or Miggletoe. No, she doesn't. That's the big thing about what AOC was criticizing her for. She doesn't do any work in between the elections. She just goes and spoiler candidates. And, like, she doesn't even really have any ground game, like, at all. I'll see green candidates here and there, at least on my local elections, but it's like one maybe? I see way more independents. I mean, I vote down the ticket in my local elections, because of course I do. Unless I, like, know somebody specifically, but, like, which I think happened only, like, once. Not that I knew them personally, it's just I knew of them. Razor and I looked up all of our stuff the night before we went to go vote together. That's our little thing we do. But yeah, she's not a person that does anything for anyone. She literally just exists to be an annoying asshole who Doesn't want anything to actually change, because if she did, she'd run as a Democrat. If she thought her messaging was compelling enough, she would run as a Democrat. The fact that she's an independent doesn't give her any credibility. Like, she doesn't give any benefit for being an independent. The Green Party is not serious. The Green Party doesn't give a shit about its local candidates. The Green Party doesn't support its local candidates. The Green Party doesn't support candidates on the state level. They don't do anything. It's all about, like, Jill Stein. It's every fucking 4 years. It's just Jill Stein, and then that's it. Didn't, what's his name that also was a fucking, never mind, I don't get distracted by that. But anyways, point is, she sucks.
You're concerned about splitting the vote, so-called spoiled elections. Sorry. When that's what people are demanding, and why are people demanding it? Because they've been thrown.
People are not demanding it. I don't think people are that pissed off. I think people are just disenfranchised with the choices or whatever. But like, get over it. Nobody's ever going to be happy all the time. The idea of happiness is irrelevant when it comes to politics. That's what's good about American politics. Do you think that in China, people are able to say that they're unhappy with their political leaders? No, your ass would go to jail. Do you think in Russia you can be unhappy with your political leaders? No, you go to jail. Do you think you'd be unhappy in Saudi Arabia with your political people? No, you'd be fucking beheaded. I think we really take for granted how much freedom we have in America. We get to be able to talk shit and hate. We get to hate every single one of. You can call Kamala like the biggest cunt. You can call her the N-word. You're not going to go to jail. You understand? In other countries, you would. In Russia, you would go to jail if you called Vladimir Putin the N-word. Not specifically just that. I'm just saying any sort of criticism. If you called Xi Jinping the N-word, you would go to jail. Or sorry, you would be disappeared. In China, we live in a very privileged freedom of speech state, and we need to understand that. I guess you could probably do it in like, you could probably call, who's the Canadian Prime Minister? You could probably call him the N-word and you'd be fine. But like, generally speaking, like there is a lot worse our country could be, and I think we really not necessarily like gotta suck the America's dick here, but we gotta true do. Well, we gotta appreciate what we got here. So we gotta have some perspective when we do our criticisms, all right? And I think we absolutely should criticize it because we can, but understand people like Hassan, people like Second Thought, people like that, tankies, they don't live in those countries because they couldn't even do the criticisms, even though they are a fucking simp for the country that even if they were a sim for that country, they still would get jailed because of the other shit that they say. Jackson Hinkle, I know, not necessarily from personal experience, but from... I know, he's a fucking degenerate drug addict. I know that, or not drug addict, don't worry about it. I know that, Hassan's a fucking has said that he would never go to China because he knows he would be arrested for what he said. Like, we have to understand the context of when we're talking about our elections here. Like, America is the best fucking country in the world, and that's not necessarily America's chauvinism in like a unwarranted way. It is American chauvinism because America deserves it. We are the best fucking country in the world, and fuck you if you don't think so. Give me a better argument against that. That's not whataboutism bullshit. America does a lot of fucked up shit. I am never gonna say that's not true. I am an American. I know. You see my American flag? My American flag's bigger than you, and I got more. I got all the American flags. But this country is still the best fucking country in the world because we have freedom. You can say whatever the fuck you want here. You can call her Cuntmala if you want. You can call Trump the N-word or whatever. Like, you can do that here. You can't do that in other places. Anyways, Jill Stein, you piece of shit. I can call her that.
Are we going to clamp down and say, therefore shut down choices, therefore shut down options when that's what people are demanding? And why are people demanding it? Because they've been thrown under the bus for long enough by both parties, and they
Good
really
tiny
want
man.
other options. So what we're saying is, let's give people those other options. If you're concerned about splitting the vote, so-called spoiled elections, there's a solution for that. It's called ranked choice voting. We have been pushing that for
The idea of ranked choice voting on like a presidential level, I think, is very impractical. I do agree with ranked choice voting on, you know, smaller scales. I think that ranked choice voting on like a presidential scale would just be like a fucking mess. And maybe that's just because we don't have enough information about how ranked choice voting would work in America. So I'm not opposed to ranked choice voting at all. I would want to see how it would work out practically, like on a smaller level. Just to, like, because obviously I don't want like the I don't want somebody who stands for nothing. That's why I think the two-party system works, because they are inherently opposing each other. So you do have to pick a side. I hate motherfuckers, centrist motherfuckers. Like, I don't want like a he's the WoW guy. I don't want S-Fan winning. You know what I mean? Not S-Fan. Fuck. The other one. He also lives in Texas. God damn it. I'm so bad with names. Asmund, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I don't want Asmongold winning, because Asmongold's good at being a fucking centrist piece of shit. But that doesn't mean obviously he's not a politician. But I'm just saying, like, that doesn't mean compromise. It just means that you're not going to do anything. Because you have to be bold enough to take a side. Like, you're not strong by like being like, oh yeah, both sides. That's silly and weak. You have to be able to be strong enough to take a side on something. But I do understand that ranked choice voting would be good when it's like a lot of people. But like when we talk about presidential, like because it's not like it's just you, right? It's you and your entire cabinet. You're leading the entire country. You would be the head of your party, essentially. You can't do ranked choice voting like when we talk about like, you know, the party nominee. Like, I think having the DNC, all of that type of stuff is not the best. And I think that's where I would like a lot of ranked choice voting within the DNC. But just like across the board, like Trump with Kamala and like, I don't know, like 5 different other people in ranked choice would just be silly. It wouldn't at all represent anything. But I do agree that ranked choice voting should absolutely be more common. I don't have a problem at all with ranked choice voting, generally speaking. I just think it would be horrible for direct presidential elections without kind of figuring out the kinks there. Is so insanely toxic, straight up manosphere too. Yeah, it's always funny when he has like a good take, but he's like so centrist about it. And obviously, like I can't imagine. It's kind of funny. Because Razor likes Asmund a lot, he doesn't really watch him anymore. But I watched him for a little bit because I liked his because he's funny, you know. And then I started realizing his political stance, and then I realized that one of his editors was I don't know if they're still his editor, was a Nazi. And then I realized that I could tell his politics were not very strong. They were easily swayed by whoever that he was around, I would assume, or whatever would be the right line. And then he was like doing this like DEI thing in games, and I'm like, I work in the game industry, okay? Fuck you if you think diversity in games is like, for one, intentionally done to like just for the sake of it. We work very hard on our games. Like, everyone does in the space. Well, I wouldn't say necessarily the people who work on games, whether or not they're cynical, like shitty, like Call of Duty is not made by like just individuals who are like, I don't give a shit about the game. No, they're made by talented people who still are working because they're career devs. It's a business. It's not something that you just even if the game is bad, it's not because of the choice. You don't get to make all of the choices. We're not playing indie games here. And I fucking hate the idea that gamers think that they understand how the gaming industry works, because it pisses me off so much, because you don't get to make your best game, but you don't know, you're not an indie developer, okay? You can be one, sure, but like, you're not going to learn how to probably be a good indie developer unless you're like, you know, a rare talent. But you're not going to end up making Dark Souls without working through the muck that is all of the bullshit other games. You know, I'm not saying that's directly what happened with Dark Souls. I'm just saying, like, generally speaking, you can't, you have to, you learn as you go when it comes to the gaming industry. So you work on shit games because, I mean, think of the other games that even From Software has made, like the older ones that, like the Donkey game. Sorry, just because we need a little bit of levity, I think. This one.
Hey guys, in this game you play as...
This was made by From Software. I think what people don't understand about the gaming industry is you learn as you go. So you have your shit games, and if you think that you're never gonna put a game out because it's not perfect, then you're never gonna...
The president.
It's stupid.
There he is now, exiting the White House.
Okay, let's party! Welcome to the White House.
So in this game, the vice president is evil. I'm the president. The vice president is evil. So in order to save America, I need to wipe out the entire United States military. But I'm the good guy.
Jody, how's my schedule look for today?
You've got a conference and dinner party at the Japanese embassy regarding wildlife protection.
Oh yeah. Sorry, but I'll have to cancel that. I'm heading out to save America. The gentleman in me goes off the clock
This is
at
very
5
American.
p.m.
Yep, I'm the same exact way. I know what
And now I'm gonna
What?
take America back!
Yeah!
The enemy forces have even captured San Francisco's cable cars.
Oh my
we
God.
can't
Not
let
San
them
Francisco, it's where I'm from!
get away with
That's where
using
Kamala Harris is from!
the symbol of this great American city.
Hey,
What are
Those-
you, a liberal?
cable cars are a symbol of this great American city of San Diego. Let me switch to the grenade launcher. There we go.
One of my guilty pleasures, unfortunately I don't have any friends to play it with, but was Earth Defense Force, which is scuffed as fuck like that, but it's so fucking fun.
The fight will continue. As long as the
Especially when you got a group
America
of
inside
homies.
my heart is still alive. An email?
Actually, it's a sound file.
Play it for me.
Yes, boss.
The sound quality is terrible.
If you fail to comply, the Alcatraz cannon will zap you back west coast.
Will it now? I'll smash it faster than a Florida recount.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
I found the taunt button.
Still got the barbecue!
What?
Still got the barbecue!
What is he saying?
Still got the barbecue!
Still got the barbecue?
Still got the barbecue!
What are you saying?
Nice landing! Nice landing! Nice landing!
What?
Nice one, I think?
What are you
I
saying?
think he's saying no.
What is that noise?
Smash that fast.
Didn't you say you'd smash them faster than a Florida recount?
Shut up, lady. I'm trying to figure out what he's saying.
Going up
Nice.
against jokers like this is so tiring. I'll have to ask you to leave this stage before you get hurt.
1 second, you guys. I gotta save the Grand Canyon.
Did this come out before or after Revengeance? Hold on. Okay, 2013. What the fuck is this stupid ass game called? Metal Wolf Kit 2004. Okay, significantly before it. Where's your source? I made it the fuck up.
There we go. Now it's...
I guess I could have assumed that considering the aesthetic. Clearly, Metal Gear Solid Revengeance. Are they ever gonna do a remake of this game, or like even like a not necessarily even like a remake, but like a re-release? Because the game's pretty good looking.
You're welcome, Florida. I saved it. Whoa, where's the floor? The floor disappeared during the cutscene. What? The truck is... Wait, the truck... Okay, the truck is gone. Okay, this is stupid.
Richard! Oh, you've done excellent work, Michael. How about a reward to show my appreciation?
Oh,
this will be Kamala versus to be fair, I guess he looks more like JD Vance. You know what's funny? I heard that JD Vance looks like is the clown guy who killed all those like kids? John Wayne Gacy? He literally does look like him. If you look at his eyes. I wish I missed the days where when you clicked on the picture, it would just open the image. It would do this. Because obviously this is what I wanted. You guys not see it? It's like the nose, the lips, the eyes. He literally looks so much like John Wayne Gacy. Somebody should check his basement.
Excellent work, Michael. How about a reward to show my appreciation?
Oh, a reward. All right. I'll take it.
Poison gas will annihilate the city in 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Or not,
And
Michael.
Please should be fat.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Mr. President, I haven't been this happy since that supermarket going out of business sale. When I was searching...
I've always wanted to do voice acting because I have the worst voice. And I just think it would be very funny to do it. What the fuck? Why am I stuck with this? Go away.
For my favorite candy, and I found
And I mean like the shitty ones, like not obviously for anything serious.
glass box all covered in dust at the back of the rack. And the expiration date was still good.
I know the feeling, Jody.
Metal Wolf,
So,
I don't know
Metal
what
Wolf.
you're up to. But I can tell you this. You're
What?
public enemy
Oh
number
my
one.
God.
I'll head to Liberty Island.
could have emphasized that a little bit more. It's weird that a lot of this happens in San Francisco and then New York.
To rescue my men. And the reason is because I'm
Chicken, I bet you played in Earth Defense Force the Valkyrie lady.
the president to Liberty Island to rescue my men. And the reason is because I'm the president of this great United States of America. I can't turn my back on a friend. And the reason is I'm the president of the United States.
Who did
To
that?
be fair, which one of our current presidential candidates would do better in a mech? You know Kamala would be able to crush that shit. Her and sorry, what is this? What are you talking about? Oh, we're talking about the assassins. No, I'm talking about in Earth Defense Force. Tim Walz, her and Tim Walz, dude, I'd be so hyped for that.
To the White House.
We call it the Fight House.
They shouldn't call it the White House. They should call it the Fight House.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
Hello, Michael. How's life treating you?
Richard! Richard!
Michael!
Richard!
Michael!
Richard!
Hey there, Michael.
Richard!
Wait.
Is that all you got to show for your Medal of Honor? Your Medal of Honor would look better on me.
Wait, that is something Trump would say. Wait, is Trump the VP here?
I'm gonna die if I beat this whole game.
Come at me with all your body and soul. I'll hug you to death.
Come on, fight, you son of a bitch.
This reminds me of one of those, like, you remember that Ghost Story? Okay, famously, there's this anime series called Ghost Stories that was translated, or basically they didn't really give a shit about who did the translation. So a bunch of voice actors kind of just like did like a little bit of a goof. It wasn't necessarily the voice actors, but the writers were being very silly with it because they just like didn't really tell them what to do with it. Like they weren't like communicating. The Japanese people were not communicating with them very well, so they were just like whatever. There's a lot of like lore around that I don't really know is the right lore, but it's a real thing that it was a real anime, but when it came to America, they just let them do whatever the fuck they wanted because they weren't like, my understanding of the story was they didn't really tell them what to do. So they're like, they paid them, they're like, well, I don't know if this is the right story. This is the one I heard, okay? But like that they already paid them, they had to give them something, and then they're just like, just make it entertaining. And that was kind of the only direction they got. So then they're like, okay. So then they just made it really weird. Because it was like a group of people who had already worked together before. So they were just kind of being really silly about it. I don't know if that's true. That's just what I heard.
Stop.
And this feels very similar to this.
You have pissed me off. No. Now I'm freaking hell.
Like, it doesn't seem like the intentional... What's my source? I made it the fuck up, like revenge and shit. Like that's obviously like a meme, but it's like intentionally a meme.
See what happens, Richard?
How do you like me now?
Yeah! Fuck you, Richard!
Yeah, fuck you, Richard.
Uh-oh. He's turning on his mega mode. Alright, guys. This is the final boss fight. Here we go.
Homosexual.
All right, I beat him. It's over. Why is he still screaming?
That's pointless, Mr. President.
Nothing is pointless. And the reason is because I'm the president of the great United States of America.
Literally Trump.
Yeah!
Mr. President!
Jody, I'm gonna step out into outer space. See you soon.
I don't think Trump has the energy to do that anymore. I believed he used to. Okay, we're never getting through any of this, but I have to look up. We're having mega ADHD right now. I promise we'll get back to it after like a clip of this type of shit.
Remember, if it wasn't for me, your friend would be headlining
This is real.
in heaven, or according to born again Betty, hell, since after all he is Jewish.
Kaya!
You, what do you want?
Thanks a lot, man.
Huh?
What about Jewish? What?
Remember, if it wasn't for me, your friend would be headlining in heaven, or according to born again Betty, hell, since after all he is Jewish.
Kaya!
You, what do you want?
Thanks a lot, man.
Huh? I think she's right. You are retarded.
I'm all alone, forgotten.
Again, these voice actors are very like famous voice actors. It's so funny.
Like a black family in Bush America.
Whoa!
I think she's right. You are retarded.
I'm all alone, forgotten, like a black family in Bush America.
I mean, I like Terry O'Quinn and all, but that guy's a freak. Is Naveen Andrews
Is that Destiny?
still screwing Barbara Hershey? Remember her lips and beaches? And why do fags like that movie so much? God. Oh, perfect. It's in Japanese. Jing Chao No Ning Tao. Wait, that's Chinese.
Wait, is that Destiny?
Luckily, I can read barricade. A police station! Thank God! I never thought I'd be happy to see one of those things. Hey, put the donuts down! Drop the Krispy Kreme, Serpico! We need your help
These people in
here!
my house look like my father and my brother after 9 months or
Yeah, diggity!
They were tempted by fruit, and they knew they were sinful and naked without Jesus. Hello, sinner. God, can you go bomb an abortion clinic or something? You just wait. When that wonderful president finishes stacking the Supreme Court, we won't have to. Don't forget.
Oh my god. She got her way.
Get what I told you about premarital sex. Abstinence only got it. Stupid rabbit. Come on, jump. I said jump!
You're such a crybaby, Ketchero. That's why they pick on you. You gotta be like Cameron Diaz in the paparazzi. Bam!
It's not right to teach a child to respond with violence. He should follow the example of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and forgive his persecutors.
Yeah, and take a look at what happened to him.
You're not helping.
Maybe Momoko is right. You should go Gandhi and show kindness to your enemies, and by doing so, turn them into friends.
You're a fag, and he should join the football team.
Later! Ketchero!
Is that the... We've played enough, Jackbox? I think the cat voice that called him a retard, I think that's the Jackbox narrator. One of them.
Where's the damn cat? But he... What? Ketchero, what are you, retarded? Obviously. Which way did he go? Now we'll never find out who the ghost is. I hope to God you're adopted.
Also, I don't respect them stealing my likeness for this character. I do like, for one, saying the word retarded, and also having bangs and a braid. And dark hair.
Now we'll never find out who the ghost is. I hope to God you're adopted.
That's it! That's what I'm talking about! Pump! 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 Think of a big black man chasing you!
Shirotami, please forgive me for bringing you back to life. I know now that it could never work between us. As much as we wanted to, it could never be. Not because you're a rabbit, but because you're black.
You'll have to catch me first, fat ass.
Come back here, you coward!
You lose weight, you'd move faster.
Hold it right there.
Oh, the music teacher, what a bitch.
When he died, I was so sad that I would never hear that voice again. His laugh. His funny little requests.
Touch me.
His reprimands.
Touch me harder.
Now get out of my way! I'm getting my little brother!
Mop girl!
You're on our side? Wait a minute, what's your angle? What happened to my leg?
If you break it, your little brother's going to the retarded school in the sky!
Pardon me? I really enjoyed running with you today. Don't you have any money for shoes? Did the Crips beat you up and take yours too? They took mine, and now my dad only buys me cheap ones from Payless. Yeah, genius, but all the rabbits are dead. We should get out our best stationery.
Again, I don't appreciate them stealing my likeness for this character. I didn't intend it, okay? But I will be suing. Not her, I meant the other one. Honestly, I look like both of them. Fuck it.
Carrying our pins and ask Amy Grant for those 3 wishes.
Look what I've got.
Yo, Sensei, dig. What's haps on the craps with snaps?
Cracker.
The piano ghost? I'm sure I'll live a long, miserable life of heartbreak and alcoholism before a ghost takes me out.
That is me.
Feel like, thank you. I told you I'm going to be fine. Why are you still crying? Because these pajamas are gay.
God damn it. Jill Stein is so fucking boring. We got distracted with all that shit. Again, remember Jill Stein, Vladimir Putin. Jill Stein, Vladimir Putin. All right, moving on.
20 years, and the Democrats keep shutting it down. Yeah. Why do they shut it down? Because they want to extort your vote. They want to be
How do you extort a vote? This is such a right-wing or like a grifter talking point. Usually coming from the right to try and discount the left, right? Extort your vote. You have one vote. What? What are they, like, kidnapping you? I mean, if you want to talk about extorting a vote, you could talk about, like, I don't know, what's the phrase that Slavoj Žižek coined? Something consent, manufactured consent. But she doesn't talk about that because you know what that would be? Having to talk about state media, and you know what that would do? Have to talk about, well, she probably wouldn't, but like Russian state media about manufactured consent. If you don't know what manufactured consent is, the general concept is that it's the fact that people can, specifically people with money and influence can influence your vote via the fact that they are in control of media sources that could also even work within state media, but generally speaking, we're talking in a capitalistic framework where obviously the money this really only makes sense if we're talking about like a liberal capitalist state like America or whatever, where they can spend a shit ton of money like Fox News, for example, is a lot of manufactured consent where a lot of it just lies to you, but you're getting paid, or people are getting paid, and it's being shoved down your throat all the time. I guess a better example would also be like radio, like Fox News wasn't even as popular as what was that asshole who died not too long ago? Absolute piece of shit. He died of lung cancer. He famous was for like talk conservative. Yes, Rush Limbaugh. Thank you. Rush Limbaugh. Rush Limbaugh was famous because he was talk radio, so it was stuff that like assholes are not seeking out something would just turn on the radio, right? And then you would just be bombarded with conservative talk radio, and Rush Limbaugh was the biggest of conservative talk radio. I remember when I went to New York, Razor and I, because we had we took his dad's car to go to I think like a zoo or something. And we were just getting so pissed off because he had it on conservative talk radio, and they just lied constantly, and we were like losing our. It was kind of fun, obviously, because Razor and I, like, you know, as I assume most of the people in the chat do, we like to get mad and like talk about politics and get mad about politics or whatever. But yeah, so we were like losing our minds, like but it really scares me to think about it, because it's like, how does anyone believe this? They're saying like they were saying some crazy shit like black people are why car crashes are happening more, because like the population has gone up, which it didn't, but like it wasn't black, it was it was like it was just immigrants. I think it was like the nebulous immigrants, like, which is kind of funny to think about now. Not funny, but just hard to think about. We're talking about, like, obviously what happened in with the Haitian migrants or whatever. Like the same playbook happens over and over again, right? And like they're like, so I looked it up, and there was literally no evidence in the county that car crashes had gone up, and I'm just like, they're just. Like, again, you can't fact check while you're driving, you know? Like, if you're just listening to conservative radio, you're not going to fact check anything while you're driving because you couldn't, you know? And I feel like that's, like, such a crazy, like, reason why the right still is able to have the same power that they have. Like, I don't know, maybe we need to invest more in talk radio? But it was amazing. Like, they had, like, state representative or something on, and again they just lied about like some random bullshit. Like it was to the level of like the cat stuff where it was just like, what are you talking about? And I was looking it up because I mean I wasn't driving, and I couldn't find anything that like actually substantiated their claims. It was insane. Ugh. To ban procreation, and there won't be any people to crash cars. Yeah, I mean, I guess that would be correct. If we're gonna go that far about being unreasonable about our situations, if we're gonna go full retard on it, let's go full retard on it. Why do any half measures if we're anti people? You know what I mean? I respect it, I guess. From all Magic the Gathering tournaments and check the results at the house instead. I think that Magic the Gathering tournaments, I mean, I don't know, are Magic the Gathering tournaments or like people who make Magic, like I assume like anyone that like likes that type of stuff are generally left leaning, because think about what Magic the Gathering, like D&D players, I think are probably like not necessarily leftists. I just mean left leaning, because for when you have the stories of like think of like Baldur's Gate 3, right? They're very progressive, and it's not necessarily because like they're like oh, we're gonna put diversity in our game. No, it's just because it's like fun to like, you know, be free. You know what I mean? And I feel like that also goes into like Magic players. They're probably like, you know, a lot of crossover with D&D players, where it's just like it's like really progressive, or not progressive people, but like the spaces that they're in. They like stories. They like writing. Like I think writers, it's really hard to be a good writer and be progressive. Like making a good story. Wait, did I say that backwards? It's hard to not be progressive when writing a good story. Because being progressive, I think is a lot of it is understanding other people's lives, and or other people, not necessarily understanding people's lives directly, but like understanding, exploring different facets of life, other people's experiences, all of that. That's like fun, you know? And I think that's kind of inherently progressive, because how couldn't it be? Like, it's really hard to be bigoted against somebody you understand. Yeah, no, I think all leftists should harvest all the, oh, sorry, that's what you said earlier. But yeah, speaking of somebody who's not a leftist, this bitch would not play D&D with you.
To use fear campaigning and smear campaigning because they don't want to face the music. It's hardly a new charge. We can document
also
that.
Just jump in? I know the question wasn't addressed to me.
Of course.
But yeah, I just wanted to add a piece to it.
God, she's so blindingly white.
And this has come, you know, since like I joined the campaign, reached out to
like
colleagues
2 weeks ago. This guy's a grifter, by the way. We looked up his, if you guys are just joining us, we looked up his Instagram. And he is very weird. He seems like the black separatist types, we'll just say. I think you guys can get what I'm saying with that. And I'm not like being weird about it. I'm just saying with good faith, he comes off that way. He's got very bad vibes.
Dahlia Mugahed, key researcher at ISPU, Institute for Social Policy.
Third party who isn't a grifter? Currently, absolutely not. I don't think like as an individual, if you're like an independent voter, like you don't have to be like a Democrat or a Republican. Like if you're an independent as a voter, that's fine. But obviously you should be voting for Democrats. It doesn't mean that, like, obviously if you're registered as a Democrat or Republican, you can't only vote for a Democrat or Republican in obviously the general, I don't know why I keep saying obviously, sorry. In the general election. However, I do think that most third-party candidates are complete grifters. I mean, think of the most populous three, right? Like RFK, absolute grifter who has started off as a Democrat, went into being a third party, and then went into being a Republican, basically. As in, like, I mean, I would consider the way that RFK did it and going into supporting Trump, going from being a Democrat, being an independent, and then supporting Trump, he's a Republican. I think that's fair to say. I think that, fuck, who was the guy who needed child support? That was like the whole thing about, like, you couldn't even get an interview with him because he would pay, like, you'd have to pay him like $30,000. He also changed parties like 3 times. Cornel West? Yeah, Cornel West, also a complete fucking grifter. He was like part of the Independent Party. Wasn't he part of the Green Party? And then or am I getting it backwards? He's part of the Green Party, then he went to be part of the Independent Party, which is not really a party. And then he's still doing a campaign. Fun fact. He's a complete piece of shit. He acts like nobody. He'll still say that people don't want to interview him, but the thing is, if you want to do an interview with him, you have to pay like $80,000 or something to do it. Yeah, he's still technically running, but like not in any meaningful way. I mean, I could be running for president right now. Like, you can still have it on. Like, Cenk is still technically. I don't think you get like taken off. Because it's just like to run for president, all you have to do is like fill out some paperwork. So generally speaking, like anyone could do it, which is why America's great about that, by the way. But Cornel West is one of the biggest fucking grifters, which sucks because he used to be a from my understanding, I'm not like an expert on Cornel West, but like he was a very powerful advocate for civil rights. But, you know, whatever. Getting disenchanted with the political system happens, I guess. That doesn't mean that the political system is, you know, broken in a way that it can't be fixed. It just means that you don't care anymore. And that's fine. It's totally fine to not care anymore. You just have to recognize that it doesn't have, like, I guess, that high level of principles. Squad of Cornel West and Claudia de la Cruz from running for president in Georgia. Okay, yeah, because they didn't get enough, I assume. Sorry, I thought it was a video. Disqualified from running for president in Georgia. 2 states court judges ruled Wednesday, saying that their elections didn't file the proper paperwork. Oh, that's common. For now, at least, the decision means that voters for West and De La Cruz won't be counted. Yeah, this is actually par for the course, but it is interesting that even he's mentioned at all. No, it's not an indictment on you, but yeah, that's interesting. All right, come on.
Policy and understanding. So these are publicly available numbers, and this goes to the heart of the question that Alia Mugahed, key researcher at ISPU, Institute for Social Policy and Understanding. So these are publicly available numbers, and this goes to the heart of the question that you asked about previous elections, but it's about this upcoming one, and then it's about like where we actually are. So key swing states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Georgia, okay? Mm-hmm. These are all, for demographic purposes, essentially the same state. Similar proportion of African Americans, similar proportion of Muslims. There's little differences in
like, assume that's true?
In the way that they're comprised, but specifically for the Muslim and Black populations, these are very similar states. So in 2020, Joe Biden received 65% of the Muslim vote in those states, and Joe Biden would not have won.
Yeah, let's just let him cook, okay?
Any of those states without getting that big majority amongst the Muslim vote, okay? January 2024, 12% of the vote, according to polling.
Of what vote? What?
In the polling.
Yes, from 65% to 12%, okay? And the polling says, well, why? Gaza, right? So
This was a day ago. What?
80% of the people that have bailed said that Gaza's the reason. Even
so he's saying, he's talking about what happened 9 months ago. Which again, October 7th happened almost a year ago. What is he on about? I don't even understand what he's trying to say.
that's for people that
I gotta run that back.
out getting that big majority
Hold on.
in the way that they're comprised, but specifically for the Muslim and Black populations, these are very similar states. So in 2020, Joe Biden received
32 and 11. That's basically the same number. I mean, I'm 32 now, so I'm basically 11.
65% of the Muslim vote in those states. And Joe Biden would not have won any of those states without getting that big majority amongst the Muslim vote, okay?
Sure, whatever.
January 2024, 12% of the vote, according to polling.
According to polling.
Yes, from 65% to 12%, okay? And the polling says, well, why? Gaza, right? So 80%.
I don't think a Muslim would wear his, what is this called? This guy doesn't seem very principled Muslim, at least aesthetically. He looks like he's like the Riddler.
Of the people that have bailed said that Gaza's the reason. That's for people that were Trump voters. That's for people that were Biden voters. The Muslim community has already been lost and is not coming back. And the thing is that
that's fucked up to say. What do you like? Think that all Muslims are the same people? The fuck?
Those swing states, you are never getting the Muslim vote.
If you did this interview again, was this like a backlog? Because this must have been before. Wait, no, he said something about Kamala. The Muslim vote absolutely is not unattainable. Like the idea, I guess this is like third party rhetoric, right? It's that like nobody gives a shit about you, just give up, which I think is bitch baby shit. I fucking hate third party people. Okay, again, I want to reestablish on the local levels, third party is okay. But we're talking presidential, again, they don't do anything any other time besides presidential. That's why they're so fucking obviously a spoiler. And again, Joe Stein, Vladimir Putin, just to remind you. These people are not serious at all. Like, they don't give a shit about because if they actually did, like, Kamala Harris has been a lot of effort to talk with, she actually had great rhetoric on in the debate about how she absolutely believes that Gaza believes in a two-state solution, and we need a ceasefire. Like, what does he want? What does he really want from her? That's practical. Do you just want to just sit from the sidelines and throw popcorn? Like, be like a Monday night quarterback, like, or whatever the phrase is. Like, these people are the exact, and I'm not saying every third party, I'm saying specifically these people, as in this guy and Jill Stein, are just nothing candidates.
Back, which means, in point of fact, if we know this, then
we can sit here and do this because we're not running for office. We're not serious people who are trying to create a message, but we're critics. We're the ones sitting in we're the people who should be throwing the peanuts. You can't be in the stand. If you want to be on the floor, you can't be in the stand with us. You can't just be us. I don't want to be a political candidate. I don't want to run for office. I know I don't have the chops to do it. But you can't think that you have the chops to do it, be on the floor, and then also being like us throwing the fucking popcorns. We get to throw the popcorns. If you want to come and throw popcorn, be with us. Don't be the people on the floor doing it.
Democrats have for sure known this. They are not winning any of those swing states without those Muslim voters.
You don't think they're going to?
Oh, 100%, Christopher. I think Kamala Harris is way more aware of that. Obviously, her history would lead me to believe she actually gives a shit about human life way more like directly than like Joe Biden, who didn't work with like rape survivors. You know, Joe Biden was never like a lawyer, like in practice the same way she was. She was the DA. She saw. I know it's silly to say in this way, but stick with me. She saw what it's like to see the worst thing that could possibly happen to you. And that sounds silly to say that you can't understand that as like a politician like Joe Biden, who has been in politics forever. But I think that does mean something. I think that she does, not that she's like a bleeding heart, but she understands that you can't be a bleeding heart and just be super oversympathetic because you're not going to get anything done. She knows how to get stuff done in this for the sake of that, with the level of sympathy. She's not like going to cry for you, like be hysterical or whatever, because it's not what she does, but she's passionate. She cares. It doesn't mean, again, she's your best friend or she like, I don't know, stays awake at night and is hysterical. Of course not. She was the DA. Her job was to prosecute like pedophiles. She had to see pictures. If I'm not sure if this ever happened, but let's just think in concept. We've all watched true crime, right? We've seen the horrible things about, like, we've watched certain true crime things that I didn't even want to watch as in concept, where there was like a little girl naked in a barrel that got raped by some guy. She had to see it. She had to see it to do her job. You don't lose that. You put it away in a place because you have to get your job done, but you don't lose that. You see it. You're with it. Did Biden was put forever? I know that she was specifically in that sector, so yeah, but they are eating cats, of course. I haven't thought about that, Greyrock. Thank you for. Again, the idea of eating a cat is so silly because it's like, have you ever like met a cat? They got like no meat on their bones. Also, they're like gammy as fuck. Oh my god, the one trans woman just followed? Is that what that person's name was? How did you get that name? What the fuck? I just saw it on the alert thing. What will happen if it's raining cats and dogs? Oh no. Immigrants who are rich from the state, yeah. Wait, you really just got the name trans woman? That's fucking crazy. Well, hello. Would you eat cats? Fuck no. Are you kidding me? Have you ever like emptied a litter box? You get toxoplasmosis from literally touching their, like, not even touching it, but like being slightly close to its shit. You know, when I got like really bad ringworm, okay? It's getting worse. It's spreading from this side to this side. It's horrible. Apparently the level of the antifungal shit I'm gonna get blasted with was so hard to get, I had to go to like multiple pharmacies to try and find it. And no, I don't want to be around. The first thing that they asked me was, do you have a cat? When I was like, went to the doctor for it. Those motherfuckers want to kill you from the grave. Like, literally the most unhealthy thing to eat. Might as well eat like a rat while you're at it. I mean, I think a dog would probably be, depending on what type of dog, better meat. My corgals would probably taste like shit, though. Speaking of, where are they? Maki would, at least. I just don't think they're big enough. I have already. It's just like I haven't gotten my prescription because it's been on back order. It's a lot of annoying shit. I'm getting it tomorrow, okay? We figured it out. Cheese from Camel. All right. Speaking of
impossible, dead man walking, bro. Like I'm serious.
Cat cheese.
It is a zombie.
Well, they will show, but right now they're looking like they're going to be voting for us.
So that's the point. So Dahlia pointed this out. Yes. So that's what they're showing is that it's upwards of 70%.
Blaming Green Party? No, we're not blaming it. We're just calling it out as it is. I don't think they're trying their best. Again, Jill Stein, Vladimir Putin. We're just calling it as it is.
Of those that are walking away from
it's just a criticism of third parties in general. If Jill Stein spent anywhere near the same amount of time criticizing the right, I wouldn't have any problem with her, outside of her obviously still being useless because she doesn't do anything. But she wouldn't be as much of a spoiler candidate if she criticized both sides equally, but she doesn't.
From the Democratic Party are walking towards third party candidates. So in point of fact, only about 5%, 8%. There were two different numbers from two different points in time that Dahlia had cited. So it's somewhere between 5 and 10% are going towards Trump. It's a very small number. A very small number are remaining uncommitted. The overwhelming majority are going third party. And this was before it became clear, right, that the Green Party was going to be the strongest of those three parties. So then another poll run by the Council on American Islamic Relations, CARE.
Again, he gave ground to Trump and then says that for some reason the Green... Did I misunderstand what he just said? I've been doing a lot of pausing and talking, so let me run this back a little bit.
Available numbers, and this goes to the heart of the question that you asked about previous elections, but it's about this upcoming one, and then it's about like where we actually are. So key swing states: Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Georgia. Okay, these are all for demographic purposes essentially the same state. Similar proportion of African Americans.
I don't think Pennsylvania is particularly similar to Georgia, but okay.
Similar proportion of Muslims. There's little differences in the way that they're comprised, but specifically for the Muslim and Black populations, these are very similar states.
I saw an interesting. We're not pausing.
So in 2020, Joe Biden received 65% of the Muslim vote in those states, and Joe Biden would not have won any of those states without getting that big majority amongst the Muslim vote. Okay.
Currently,
January 2024. 12% of the vote.
Interesting.
According to polling.
According to polling.
Yes, from 65% to 12%. Okay, and the polling says, well, why? Gaza, right? So
wait, hold on.
80%.
Again, the numbers?
According to polling.
According to polling.
Whoa.
And Joe Biden would not have won any of those states without getting that.
I already did this. Sorry, I went back too far the first time.
Bailed said that Gaza's the reason. That's for people that.
I went too far.
Okay. They are not winning any of those swing states without those Muslim voters.
You think they're going to show up in November?
Impossible. Dead man walking, bro. Like, I'm serious. It is a zombie.
Well, they will show, but right now they're looking like they're going to be voting for us.
So that's the point. So Dahlia pointed this out. Yes. So that's what they're showing is that it's upwards of 70% of those that are walking away from the Democratic Party are walking towards third party candidates. So in point of fact, only about 5%, 8%.
So that literally just proves that they're a spoiler candidate. So 70% of the people who were Democratic voters and have decided to not be Democratic voters anymore have moved to being a Green Party voter, meaning that this is not a benefit for them. It just shows that their messaging has been to shit on the Democrats and support and become a spoiler candidate, so to say, because if their messaging was for everybody, then they wouldn't be running third part, or if they didn't think their messaging would be effective for Democrats, then they wouldn't be running third part, let me rephrase that. If they thought their messaging was good enough for everybody, they would be running Democrat because they would actually give a shit about being on the ballot. The thing is, they don't give a shit about being on the ballot, which is why they're running for third party, because third party is... you have to be, like, literally insane to think that you have any level of political relevancy as a third party candidate compared to a establishment either right or left, like either Democrat or Republican. The idea, like, if you actually want to make change, you would be running for either one of those. it's all a weird ego thing to run as an independent or on an independent party like the Green Party, who doesn't do any ground game, doesn't give any shit about like in between elections. They don't exist. Jill Stein's done nothing. She hasn't even won like run for like a mayor or something. Like she's done nothing. She can't even win anything. Like she's as useless as Chank is, you know? Ugh. All right, have a good night, chicken.
Two different numbers from two different points in time that Dahlia had.
Not on president. Yeah, but they don't. That's what I'm saying. That's why they're grifters. They're complete grifters because they don't care. They don't care.
Cited. So it's somewhere between 5 and 10% are going towards Trump. It's a very small number. A very small number are remaining uncommitted. The overwhelming majority are going third party. And this was before.
Yeah, that means that you're a spoiler. Wait, uncommitted and okay, whatever.
It became clear, right, that the Green Party was going to be the strongest of those three parties. So then another poll run by the Council on American Islamic.
What's the other strongest third party? Because the independent party isn't like real, right? If they cared enough, probably on local elections, but I mean not like on a federal level. Yeah, but if they actually gave a shit, they could actually do, but the thing is they don't.
Relations CARE showed just last week that in the Muslim community nationwide now not just talking about those three swing states, but nationwide, had us polling neck and neck with Kamala Harris. And actually a new poll was just released that came out this morning. I didn't get the chance to verify it.
I miss Buckethead, Grey Rock. Didn't you have like a Buckethead party?
See whether it's a scientific poll or not, that we're now leading in that race.
You guys are you're saying that you're competing in red states and battleground states. I'm sorry, y'all jump into, but it just
she's a lawyer, so she knows her stuff, I think.
This is a dope interaction, so let's keep going. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real.
There are at least 13 states where you all are not like on the ballot, or folks would have to write you in, or it's still contested. You're actively petitioning, for example, to be on the ballot in Rhode Island. So in those states where there are also Muslim people who you're saying you're winning over based on a poll that you're going to find the information for, what options do they have? If this is a 50 straight state strategy, y'all are short by 13.
So in every state except for 3.
So she's saying that like they obviously did no work in those states. They only did work in like 13 states, you said? But this is again the big problem with the Green Party. They don't give a shit. They only do things to be spoilers.
There are 3 states that don't allow write-in campaigns.
So you're campaigning on write-ins, okay?
Write-ins are doable campaigns. Joe Biden himself won a write-in in New Hampshire because he was not.
Yeah, for president, that's not the case. No president in like modern history has won a write-in campaign. This is how unserious the Green Party is. She's saying that, you just do a write-in. What are you talking about? We're campaigning there because it's a write-in. Like what? Jesus.
In the primary for various reasons. Yeah, right. But even so,
primary, that's fine. Exactly like the lawyer lady is saying. Oh, Jesus.
Even in a primary, he ran a write-in campaign and did fabulous. So having the ability to do a write-in, if the communities
again, this write-in campaign meant that they just had some weird paperwork shenanigans, and everyone already knew that they were going to vote for him anyways, so it didn't really matter. This is meaningless.
Motivated, and
in Wyoming, North Dakota, Kansas,
but in the overwhelming
Iowa,
majority
Illinois.
of states, we are actually on the ballot.
We will be on his write-ins.
That's everyone. I'm on as a write-in. What? A write-in is just anybody. You can write me in if you want. I mean, don't vote for Kamala. Vice President Harris. But like you're on the ballot for write-in, like anyone would be. What?
In all of the states, with the exception of, I think it's South Dakota,
Indiana, and Oklahoma.
That's right. Those 3 states.
But we are on the ballot, not write-ins. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Well, so we will be a choice, an anti-genocide, anti-war, pro-worker, pro-reparations, climate emergency choice, and the only one, which
I mean, you should probably vote Dem, but unlike local elections, it could probably matter.
Has nationwide status. We will be on the ballot for 95% of voters. That is more than enough to win an election.
Yeah, of course they both suck, but which ones want you to not have the name trans woman?
But, I don't want to just focus on winning the election. This is an odd election, and I would not rule out a win, but that's not the only reason to run. Every vote cast for our campaign is a vote against genocide. It is a shot across the bow of
how is she going to do that?
The endless war machine to say that we, the people, are getting organized. We are moving forward. We are growing.
Do you ever watch those old Disney movies? Obviously, I'm not saying you would watch them now. I'm just saying when you were a kid. I mean, I'm an old bitch. Where the kid gets to take over the factory, so to say. And it's all fun and games for a few days, but you realize they're a bunch of retards and it doesn't work. Literally what her ideology is. She doesn't have any plans. She doesn't have any ideas. She just says things. She's literally the Monday morning quarterback. She has nothing going on. She's just vote for me. I will make sure you have the biggest dick or the biggest titties or whatever thing you would want. Okay, vote for me. I'll just do it. Oh, how will I do it? Doesn't matter. Just vote for me. I'll do it. I don't know why the Republicans and the Democrats don't talk about how they can give you big titties and big dicks or whatever you want. Crazy. I could just say whatever, which is what she's doing.
We have organization and infrastructure that we have never had before. We've never been able to break through like we are now because Greens have been ahead of the curve on a lot of things like climate change.
Hey, Democrats, we could have blue Florida if you don't vote Green. I only support Republicans voting third party. I don't support anyone that would vote Democrat voting a third party. That's stupid, and you know it is.
Change on reparations, on healthcare as a human right, on housing as a human right, also on Gaza and genocide. We've been very much ahead.
Yeah, with that attitude. Yeah, I don't think it's practical, but it's not going to happen if you're going to just do nothing.
To the curve.
Then just sit in your wallowing pit of suffering. That's your problem.
And on cutting the military budget. We're spending as much as the next 10 major military budgets around the world right now. We're more than all 10 of them put together. We can cut our military budget, which is not benefiting us here in America. And
okay, she's said literally elementary school politics here. Just, we're going to cut the budget. We're going to get all this stuff. She's the epitome, which is exactly what I think she's intending to be. She's intending to, I think this is intentional actually, that she's doing everything that the right wing assumes the left does, where there's no plan. Where obviously there is a plan. When we talk about Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's plan to do stuff like this, they are plans. The thing is, politics is complicated. I would really hope, I guess it doesn't ever end. We're all children, I guess. At the end of the day, we did start off that way. Whatever. But she makes it seem oh yeah, it's super easy, right? I would love her to it's like the heckler in the you're on the stage and there's a heckler and you're okay, come up. You give them the mic and then they just freeze. That's exactly what Jill Stein would be. She's nothing. You don't have anything. You don't have any actual plans. Because if she did, she would talk about it. Kamala talks about her plans. Kamala's also been in office for a while. Kamala's also been won elections. What is Jill Stein's background? She's a doctor? That doesn't mean that what? Because you're also. I was gonna make a joke about saggy titties, but that was mean. I hate her so much. I'm getting I feel like chickens radiating the hate for her.
Put those dollars into what we critically need right here and right now. We should have, we need to be raising the floor for schools across the country. Why should the quality of your school depend on luxury housing in your community? Schools should not depend only on...
She just talks like a streamer. I say these same things. Do I have a plan for it? Of course not. I have general... What is the concept of a plan? Yeah, but like, also, this isn't... I'm not a presidential candidate. I would hope you would think about stuff. Again, she's never won an election, so...
And property taxes.
I guess I could be a third-party candidate. You want to vote for me? The Twitch party?
Housing. The federal government should be in the business of raising the floor so that we have a common standard across the country. So regardless of your zip code, you have good high.
So again, she said reparations earlier, and that's what, like, we had a whole conversation about reparations. We had a more complicated conversation about reparations than she mentioned. She just said, yes, reparations, which again, reparations are complicated. Like, how, question mark? You know, like, what was her plan for it? I don't think she actually wants to give reparations. She just wants to, I don't think she wants to be president. She wants to just say that because she wants to get the money and clout that it gives her so she can, you know, have dinner with, again, Vladimir Putin. She doesn't actually give a shit about this country. She doesn't give a shit about you. She gives a shit about this. This doesn't look like fun. Why are you at, like the shittiest wedding ever? It's in, like, a weird studio?
Quality education where you're starting out. Things like that is where we need to be spending our money, not on endless war, on genocide, on killing children, on
well, maybe you should talk to your boy.
Massacring women and children every day.
Well, then maybe you should talk to your boy. Again, hold on. Can we zoom in on that? Maybe you should talk to your boy.
You know, the police violence in this country. We don't need that police violence. And there are alternatives.
Oh my God, thank you for your platitudes.
To that can actually move us forward. Yeah, go ahead.
You were a candidate in 2012, 2016.
Right.
What's the difference in 2024?
Oh, man. It's the difference between night and day. You know, it's the thing about...
That's such a bad response from the get-go because she's literally not said anything different. But let's see how she says it.
About being ahead of the curve and then the curve catches up to you. Curve is catching up to us on all the things, really, our agenda. In fact, the agenda that we've been putting forward since 2012 really is the progressive democratic agenda right now. Healthcare is a human right, housing is a human right, reparations to the extent that they give it lip service, the Green New Deal. Yeah.
It sounds like
because it's got the word green in it.
You want to happen if you're not planning to win an election. And
who said we wasn't planning to win?
What I heard.
Get him, girl.
No, I'm saying it's not the only.
Exactly.
It's not the only.
So it's hard to understand.
As a candidate, to hear that from a candidate, it kind of gives like, well, why are you here then?
It does sound. It does sound. Like
you might as well join up with a team.
No. May I go in on this, please? Because I would not have joined this campaign. I would not have come out of, like, you know, prestigious position in the academy and organizing.
That's a good way to say that. Why not join up with the team? Which is exactly what we've been saying the whole night.
If I didn't think that we had a chance to win this fight. Look, I'm converted to Islam after reading the autobiography of Malcolm X at age 15. Malcolm brought me into knowledge of self, brought me to
I don't care about your backstory. We're talking about your politics, and honestly, he shouldn't be here. My guess is the only reason that this podcast even happened because, you know, Jill Stein is the whitest person ever. But like, and he probably, I don't know, had connections, but like, I don't really give a shit about this guy. Nobody gives a shit about a VP candidate from a third party. You're like the least important person. And it's not because of anything about his identity. It's just because you are a nothing in the grand scheme of things as a third party candidate. It's themselves is a nothing, you know?
Islam schooled me on the black radical tradition. I've been in the academy.
As a candidate, to hear that from a candidate, it kind of gives like, well, why are you here then?
It does sound. It does.
Go Queen Lauren.
Sound like
you might as well join up with a team.
No. May I go in on this?
We might as well join up with the team. She's straight up on
that. Because I would not have joined this campaign. I would not have come out of, like, you know, prestigious position in
he didn't listen to anything she said. I think he's being willfully ignorant and or sexist, or he's just completely ignoring what she just said.
Academy and organizing. If I didn't
She
think
didn't ask for your life story. She asked, why don't you join up? She asked a very poignant question.
that we had a chance to win this fight. Look, I'm converted to Islam after reading the autobiography of Malcolm X at age 15.
Okay,
Malcolm brought me into knowledge of self, brought me to Islam,
So
schooled
why
me on the
didn't you
Black
join the
radical
team?
tradition. I've been teaching and building this community. I speak fluent
Why
Wolof, lived in
don't
West
you
Africa for
join the
years.
team?
I got a good life, and I'm not coming out of that in order to play no spoiler. So I was raised in that Black Muslim tradition.
Well, you're doing the wrong thing then.
And just like Muhammad Ali, I came in because I believe we have a chance to shock the world. And I
Muhammad Ali was not this level of like delusional. That's an insult to him and his memory to say that, because Muhammad Ali believed in winning. His way of winning was too aggressive, and he disavowed it later in his life. You're neither one of those things.
I know that the deck is stacked against us, but
What are you, like, fucking LARPing right now?
right here is part of our strategy, right? Because what
Jesus
happens
Christ.
is that when people hear this agenda and understand that we're talking about
Can you answer
erasing
her
the
question?
general.
She answered she asked a very, so why don't you join the team? She asked, why don't you join the team? Please answer said question, my guy.
Generational wealth gap now, right? Having a bunch of Black
Why don't
Wall
you
Streets
join
and
the
new
team?
Tulsas that we can establish now, not
Black
another
Wall Street-
100.
Okay, so he's a Black separatist. The idea of like Black Wall Street in modern day is literally just Black nationalist shit. That's anti-white rhetoric, or not anti-white necessarily. It's not pro-Black as in like Black Lives Matter. It's like Black supremacist rhetoric. This guy's insane. That's not gonna fly with the average individual, and I don't mean like the average white individual. I mean the average person in general. This isn't going to fly with anyone. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I understand Black Wall Street, what Black Wall Street was, but what Black Wall Street was coming out of redlining and after or during Reconstruction, right? And Black communities were thriving, and then they were like bombed by a bunch of racist fucktards, literally through like an airplane. I know what Black Wall Street is, and the idea of him setting up more Black Wall Streets doesn't really make... What does that really mean? Let's think about what that means. Yeah, the Tulsa Massacre. Absolutely, yes. What does that mean? Like, he wants... Because at the time, what Black Wall Street was that it was a community that was only for Black people. And it made sense at the time, clearly, for what it was, because it was like... It's like an immigrants coming to America, and they have, a borough or whatever, because that's where they could do business because of the racist outsiders. All of that. It made sense. And they were thriving, and obviously that's why they bombed them, because they were thriving. So the idea of having just Black communities thrive is racist. And I don't mean that in like a white lives matter type of weirdness, but I'm saying like, we're not living in the same like conditions that Black Wall Street was a good thing when it was happening, but that's not a good thing now to have it exclusionatory, because it was exclusionatory to Black people back then. That's what I'm telling you, he's a fucking Black nationalist. He thinks that white people and Black people should not interact. He thinks that if you are a Black person, you should not have a white wife. He thinks that if you're a Black woman, you should not have a white wife. I don't know if he actually says that, but from what he's saying, he seems like a fucking Black or a Black supremacist, where he probably fucking hates miscegenation. And you know what? I don't give a shit that he's Black, but that shit's fucking horrible. I don't care if you're Black, you're white, you're Muslim, you're anything. I think anti-miscegenation is fucking racist, and you're a absolute piece. Oh my god, this is a Mike from PA tweet. What is this? Oh, did he get banned already? Oh, there's a reason I haven't really gotten his Stein versus AOC fight. It's because it's a worthless distraction. The Green Party in the U.S. is no serious party and arguing. Oh, a rare dub from Mike here. Arguing to vote for them is pointless. However, saying just vote Dem while genocide is. Oh, he almost had it. He almost had it. The first part of that, absolutely correct. The second part, stupid. Just vote Dem, you retard. Because Mike's from I don't even know if Mike from PA is a tanky, but he's so much up Hassan's ass that I assume he like almost is biologically connected like a like with like an umbilical cord that he by that must be, right? I don't even think he's an ML. I don't think he uses that principle to be an ML. But yeah, I mean, the things he says absolutely goes with that. I agree.
Years, not going with your hands out to the Democrats, like Malcolm said, where they, treat you like a political chump. You put them first, they put you last, as Malcolm said. We erase that in this generation. We build.
Amazing how much Malcolm X would be embarrassed by this guy.
Black businesses, Black Wall Street, and they can't burn it down this time. So by appearing in a forum like this, what is going to happen is we're going to get on a debate stage. And when this woman goes up on a debate stage, exactly.
Okay, so I rewatched something that I think we forget about. I watched Hassan talk to, back when Leftovers was a thing. I rewatched that recently just because, I don't know, I was watching old videos because I wanted to be like, okay, what was it like in politics right when all these conflicts started? Him not being able to talk about he's obviously like a simp for China in a very, very weird way. He is a tanky. I don't think he's a Marxist-Leninist, but I think he is basically like a tanky. Or like I guess I don't really know what a Trotskyist is, but he's definitely not he's not a he's anti-Ukraine, he's pro-Russia, he's he's an authoritarian. He loves China. He's like a weird simp for both of them, and I don't understand it. I feel stupid for not seeing it earlier. But yeah, he's a fucking stooge for Russia and China. He's basically just a tanky. But I don't think he's a Marxist-Leninist. I agree. I don't think he's a Marxist-Leninist. I think he aligns with them. I think that Hakeem I'm not gonna say brainwashed because that sounds weirdly manipulative in a way that I don't mean. I do mean it to be manipulative, but I do think Hakeem influenced Second Thought, and then Second Thought influenced Hassan. And I think that's where they're at because the tankies are the most annoying motherfuckers on the internet. Which is funny because we haven't had tankies come into our channel in a while. I miss them. But they are the loudest voices. And Hassan was talking about when I was watching that interview, or sorry, that conversation he had with Ethan talking about how he wouldn't say a stance about Taiwan. He was like, I don't want to see the Reddit posts. I don't want to see the Reddit posts. All these people on Reddit are going to get really annoyed about it. It's like, so you don't have a principled stance? You're just mad that people are going to say stuff on Twitch? Or on Reddit? Majority of Twitch is, I mean, I guess. I think most of Twitch politics is just Hassan Sims. That's what I'm saying. We need Destiny back on Twitch. I don't think he would be able to stay there because obviously his multiple conversations with Nick Fuentes I don't think would be good for the platform because, etc. But we need a Destiny the figure of being a aggressive leftist to balance him out. What do you mean you doubt him? Avocado, he said directly that Second Thought is his favorite YouTuber, and he's been in his podcast multiple times. I'm not saying by just viewers. They're friends, Avocado. I'm not saying just via osmosis. They're friends, and he's said multiple times that it's his favorite YouTuber. And he's been on his the Deprogram podcast or whatever. Do you remember what Second Thought's favorite thing or famous thing? And again, when Ethan Klein showed him what Second Thought said, he wouldn't disavow it. Baby settlers. Again, I'm not a fucking simp for Israel, of course, because that is not what an online leftist would even think any. Oh shit. Where's the? All right, careful.
Hey everyone, so this is gonna be a bit of a weird.
Give me the thing. Oh, there we go.
On one of their most recent streams.
Right.
He says, did the Palestinians actually take civilian hostage, or is that fake news? I don't care.
Yeah, the occupiers are not civilians. That is what it comes down to. Like if imagine like if Germany, let's say Germany to be non-controversial, invaded the United States, and they.
So right off the bat, they're saying that all Israelis are occupiers, and thus they simply do not care if they get taken hostage or.
Correct. We heard what he said. And she's right. That's like Hassan's favorite YouTuber. And Ethan showed him that back when leftovers were the thing, and he was like, I don't know, whatever. Just bring Cenk on Twitch, get him off T. Are you kidding me? You know, like every single person from TYT is like a tanky, besides like what, like Emma. Every single, you know who? Literally, Dave Rubin. Dave Rubin used to work for TYT. Dave Rubin got a start on TYT. He's literally now paid by Russia. Cenk is worse than Hassan. He's honestly, like, there is, like, the TYT gas leak was, like, the joke about, like, how every single person on, Benny, remember the Benny, Benny Tanky, the trans, lady that, debated Charlie, like, she came from TYT, like, so many people from TYT are, like, hardcore, like, insane, like, Russia. Literally, Dave Rubin came from them. Hassan calls himself a socialist or a communist when he used to debate with Destiny. Yeah. Again, Destiny, I don't agree with everything that Destiny says, but I do think he's way more principled than Hassan is. I do think both of them go full retard when it comes to each other. As I think that Destiny's like insane pro-Israel take, I think is influenced by his hate of Hassan. But I'm not saying that things he says, generally speaking, are incorrect. Again, I think Israel has the right to exist. I think that, you know, if Israel didn't exist to begin with, it was probably a bad thing that it came about in the way it did, but they're there. These people are people, they are there, and I think that, okay, let's just deal with that, and let's stop this bullshit, like, genocide of the Palestinians. That is not acceptable at all. Fuck that. But they're obviously already there. I don't want, like, genocide of the fucking Israelis. Like, I don't want genocide on the other end. Yeah, but I don't like the way it was created, is my point. TYT were pro-Russian / America bad videos, but like the... Oh, did you see that? Oh my god. They have lost the sauce. Anna Kasparian was like pro Project 2025. That sounds like a joke.
I don't know.
Wrong video.
Anna Kasparian is.
All right, whatever. We don't need Vosh's thing. It's just easiest to find.
The hell? Hey, speaking of so.
And like, I hesitate to even bring this up because people are hell-bent on being scared about Project 2025. But
people are hell-bent on... I don't want to bring it up because people are hell-bent on being scared about 2025.
let me just be clear.
What the hell? Hey, speaking of so-called independent media that definitely got corrupted by investment from another group, you know?
About something. There are all sorts of allegations about the Heritage Foundation's document, which again, they release every election cycle. This is the first time
He's downplaying the Heritage Foundation.
Have the Democratic Party specifically tying it to Donald Trump, because some of the people associated with the Heritage Foundation used to be in Trump's administration.
I mean, a few hundred of them. And also, this is the first time the Heritage Foundation plan has specifically called for the dismantling of American democracy and the administrative state by replacing tens of thousands of federal workers with loyalists, abusing a presidential power that's essentially never been used before that allows them to fire people for no reason and, like, appoint your own replacements. I mean, I don't know. It seems a little bit significant. It's also the first time a person who wrote the forward for the plan ended up on the ticket. That's true.
Okay, does that mean that Trump is... You think Trump respects anyone who is in his administration? But okay, let's talk about the specific allegations that we've heard about what's in Project 2025, which is a 900-page document. The media knows that most Americans, they don't have the bandwidth...
You guys do all realize that they've all...
And he came to go... No. What? No, the thing is about second thought, it's what I said earlier about, like, you just did you not listen to what I said earlier? I think that second thought and Hassan are easily influenced because they come from rich families. So Hakeem, who is a doctor from Iraq, who talks very passionately, he's very smart, by the way, also, and knows how to manipulate people, like, and come off very likable. Like, I've seen him talk to people. He comes off very personable. I think that you didn't, I don't know, listen to what I said about that. I think that there's this weird guilt that maybe you don't understand growing up, like, rich, wealthy, well-off, and wanting to be a leftist. You have this weird guilt that I think is not necessarily like everyone has it, but I think it's there, and you gotta, like, I don't know, therapy your way through it. But, like, I think that they didn't therapy their way through it, and I think that makes them, like, vulnerable to stuff like, oh, Hakeem, I'm a doctor from Iraq, and I hate America. And, you know, I'm not an idiot. I have good points here and there. Maybe appeal to authority type thing. Hakeem has not changed his positions. His fucking icon is Lenin. Hassan did not predate them. Hakeem has been making the same content since he literally started on any platform. Okay, you can disagree with me because you're not listening to what I'm saying, Avocado. You don't understand it. You don't understand what I'm saying. You don't understand the idea of why do you think he lets fucking Frogan go off the way that she does? He wants to be liked by everybody. This incessant need to be liked by all the proletariat or whatever. It leads you into this tanky, because I almost like fell into that to some mild extent. But I think religious trauma stopped that from ever really going that far. Where it's like, oh, I understand that. Like, because the tankies are the most loud, annoying motherfuckers. Who are you gonna get? I get backlash for them all the time. Tankies are just, yes, of course they are. I agree. He agrees. Oh, he agrees with Frogan. Well, he says he doesn't. That's why he's such a pussy about it. Yeah, he absolutely is doing that out of peer pressure. What do you mean? You're talking about with Ethan? Yeah, he did it because he didn't want to get backlash from because it's coming within the community. If I was doing a collaboration with somebody else and you motherfuckers were constantly shitting on me, do you think that his fans don't influence him? Especially if you're my mods? It's gonna fuck you up a little bit. Right? You have fun?
Also been paid off. right? Like the gas leak narrative is fun, but you do
It's not how he genuinely feels. That's the problem, is that he doesn't, whatever.
you do know that like TYT complained about not having enough money. Cenk Uygur ran a presidential campaign that was essentially just a way of driving attention to the business. It didn't work. And then like almost overnight, all of their talking
Yeah, famously, he's banned Frogan.
points ended up rapidly shifting further to the right. Like, come
After
on.
Frogan called his co-host, what? Are you gonna go in the morning? Do I have to go? So it's like a race to not wake up first? Tiger. You won't do anything! Yeah, famously when like his co-host was crying in front of him and because she was calling him a genocidal she was being incredibly anti-Semitic towards them. Yeah, that seems like a reasonable stance to have.
Come on.
With to sit down and read a 900-page document. So they get to say whatever they want about it. They
like, do you think it's a coincidence?
Literally defending.
Coincidence that there are like 47 grifters who used to work with TYT? Think of the culture there.
She's literally saying, oh, Project 2025 is so long, you could just say whatever you want about it.
Okay? Yeah, Anna Kasparian had a meltdown on a live show about Hassan making more money than her. Yeah, yeah, I don't know, man.
Page document. So they get to say whatever they want about it. They get to claim that it includes all sorts of things that it doesn't even actually say. So for instance, Vice President Harris said on July 23rd that Project 2025 called for cutting Social Security. It was not a one-time mistake. She also said at a July 11th, 2024 campaign.
This should be, if you ever have any respect for TYT, this should be the nail in the coffin. I do not respect you if you think that after watching this, they're not being like pragmatic about Project 2025. This is cut and dry, just horrific symmetry.
Campaign event, Project 2025 includes a plan to cut Social Security.
Well, it hasn't been this egregious since 2026, but you might be right. Or sorry, not 2026, 2016, but you probably are right. I just never really paid attention. I didn't realize they're going to be this egregious until now, because they're not financially viable, even though they have 6 million subs, I guess. I think that Cenk is probably a horrible boss. Jimmy Dore also came out of TYT. Again, a Russian asset. Jimmy Dore, a Russian asset. Dave Rubin, a Russian asset. Benny, a Russian asset. Surprised to me that Hassan's not going to be a Russian asset. That the entire TYT industry is not going to be a fucking Russian asset. Thank you for the raid, Reservoir. Oh my gosh. Talk about. If you haven't seen this, let's start this video over, because if you have not seen this, I know I'm watching a Vosh video just because I couldn't find it off the cuff. We're doing
Anna
content
Kasparian is now acting as a press
If you want to see what TYT is completely bankrupt, she is defending Project 2025.
By investment from another group, you know?
About something. There are all sorts of allegations about the Heritage Foundation's document, which again, they release every election cycle. This is the first time we have the Democratic Party specifically tying it to Donald Trump, because some of the people associated with the Heritage Foundation used to be in Trump's administration.
Russia.
I mean, a few hundred of them.
It's not relevant to get paid. Well, he was making $400,000 a month. So if you read the DOJ indictment, he was getting paid. Benny was famous for having for plagiarism, so I don't think a man like that really gives that much of a shit. Sometimes I like to live in a very positive centric world where I think that the good guys win at the end of the day, because, and I mean that like kind of pragmatically, where I think that you can't live in a world of like you can't, nobody wants, like, if you ever had a piece of shit friend, nobody wants to be around them, right? Or if you're a piece of shit, nobody wants to be around you besides other pieces of shit, and these things will never last. So it's just like an inevitable, that's why I love Stephen King books, where I do believe that the bad people lose, but holy shit, they do win in the interim, don't they?
A few hundred of
like
them.
TYT, who says that, Project 2025, Anna Kasparian saying it's not that big of a deal, huh?
A press secretary for Project 2025. I mean, she got retweeted by Tim Pool, known foreign agent. So, what is this?
Did you go too far?
There's other stuff. And like, I hesitate to even bring this up because people are hell-bent on being scared about Project.
People are hell-bent on being scared at Project 2025, implying that you should not be scared about Project 2025.
2025. But let me just be clear.
What the hell? Hey, speaking of so-called independent media that definitely got corrupted by investment from another group, you know?
About something. There are all sorts of allegations about the Heritage Foundation's document, which again, they release every election.
Is she getting more blonde or what? Is it that like, are we having Cabin in the Woods thing where like her hair dye is making, I mean, I always tell you guys, never trust blondes.
Cycle. This is the first time we have the Democratic Party specifically tying it to Donald Trump because some of the people associated with the Heritage Foundation
Jesus fuck
used to be in Trump's administration.
I mean, a few.
Literally her. Okay, whatever. We get the point. The point is TYT is completely sold out. Let's get back to this retard.
Who knows? But the point is that as soon as we are in the mainstream media conversation, tonight. Exactly, we have a watch party tonight.
You guys have a response.
We will be doing a response.
Did not meet the qualifications for ABC.
Incorrect.
The qualifications established by an exclusionary framework.
She's like me when I remember reading this school pamphlet, and like try to lawyer my way out of like, well, I don't think I have to wear this uniform because in this line it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't matter. We're playing. You're being silly. Have you seen Am I Racist? I don't know how racist you are, Taco Bell. You gotta tell me.
The goal is to silence and throw off the ballot
that's what it is.
options
I think it's a
for
15%
voters.
Threshold for you to be polling at least 15%.
Well, before
I assume you mean the stupid ass movie. No, of course not. Is it even out yet? We saw like a thing for it. He's trying to do a Borat movie and it's pathetic. And I think I'd rather kill myself.
Before that, there wasn't a 15% threshold. When this,
oh my god, do you have the figures? I would love to see how much money it made. That's what I want to know, because he's punching up at his own face, of course.
It was run when it was run by the legal.
See, again, like you can't be Borat when you're so unlikable, like Matt Walsh. Like Matt Walsh literally just looks like a rapist. Like Sacha Baron Cohen is a very talented comedian who does a lot of thought into his. Obviously, his jokes are crass. A lot of them are racist, like the money with the Jews, like the cockroaches. All again, he is Jewish, but also all of it's just funny. Like it's well thought out, like gross humor that I respect, and I know that he's not capable of doing. So, I feel like I should download LimeWire just to, like, disrespectfully be the one person that rebroadcasts it. I say that jokingly, I'm not actually going to do that. But he punches down on poor people. Matt is punching up at rich elitists. Did you ever watch Borat, Taco Bell fucker? Are you joking? Or are we goofing? I don't know if you're goofing or being a retard. You're goofing, okay.
Women voters before it was hijacked by the private corporations of the Democratic and Republican parties. Before they were in charge, it was whether or not you actually were going to be a choice for enough voters across the country that you could potentially win the election. So we have satisfied that criterion, the basic criterion. I mean, as a voter, because polls are self-fulfilling.
Now, who the fuck votes? Okay, what retards vote for the Green Party?
They are self-fulfilling prophecies. If you're in the poll as determined by whatever, private polling agency, if you are in the polls, people are going to know about you. If you're not even being polled, people won't know.
They do not predict outcomes, they produce them.
So half of this, We haven't paused in like crazy, but like they've been bitching about polls for like a not insignificant amount of time here.
People are saying, if people are screaming for other choices, don't they have a right to hear those other choices?
I think they do, but I think that what you have are people that need a certain level of validity to the campaign. You will not hear Donald Trump or Kamala Harris tonight on this debate stage saying, "Hey, it's not just about us winning. Winning is everything." And even if we want to say, "Hey, this shouldn't be a binary choice." I grew up also raised by an activist. My dad brought home the picture of all of the parties in South Africa.
Show you right.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna give you a minute to think about that one.
Party democracy is great. That's not what we have. We have a binary choice between.
Well, you may say so, but the American, it's not in the Constitution. The American people don't want that. The American people are explicitly on records in absolutely unprecedented numbers saying we want other choices. And not only do people want other choices, they want to hear their choices.
I do believe in a third party. I think we need other options. But it does seem like you all have a lot more smoke for the Democratic Party. I just wonder why.
Ooh.
Yeah, so if I can jump in on that particular point. So to kind of finish the previous one.
I bet he doesn't say anything about the Republican Party.
I absolutely would not be in this race if I didn't think that we had a chance to win. I wouldn't waste y'all's.
Oh, well, ignore what he literally just said. You guys have more smoke for the Republican Party. Or sorry, for the Democratic Party, meaning that you come after them more. And you don't criticize. That's obviously what he was.
Time, and I wouldn't waste my own time. So that's number one.
Okay.
We have had to, up until this point in time, target the Democrats specifically because they're the ones that are suing to keep us off the ballot. They're the ones that are trying to knock us off the ballot in Georgia. They are the ones that are doing everything they can to keep us from coming. If we were not a problem for them, AOC wouldn't be, doing her little sorry attack ads, against us, that we came back at. So.
Okay. Again, not serious. Not serious. This reminds, like I'm doing a Family Guy bit. This guy reminds me of when Marianne Williamson was talking on some panel, and then like some random dudes that were friends with the person on the panel, came in and just were like trying to gotcha. Like he would be the type of guy who would do that. Like, come on.
So the Democrats are attacking us. We're responding in kind. Just to be plain about this, the reason why they don't want Dr. Jill Stein on a debate stage is because she will be able to look at.
They both have the same one. Turkish TV. What are you, Hassan viewers?
Team Red and say this is a party that is led by a domestic terrorist and a criminal. Okay, tried to overthrow the government on January 6th and is convicted of numerous crimes, including sexual abuse that amounts to rape and so forth. So this man is a domestic terrorist and a criminal.
A domestic terrorist? That's a little bit. It's a weirdly aggressive rhetoric without having enough support for it. Like, if you're going to say domestic terror, like, you'd have to say, like, because January 6th. You can't say he's a domestic terrorist because he was charged with rape crimes. You could absolutely say he's a domestic terrorist because of January 6th. But it's very weak to, like, say because of whatever, he's a domestic, like, bad messaging.
She can look to Kamala Harris. And sorry.
Come on.
This bitch can't even say her name right.
Come on, my brother.
Hold on. No, it's honest to God,
so
no disrespect. To be perfectly honest,
now.
It's just the way that I had gotten used to pronouncing the name because it resembles a name.
Respect to the Breakfast Club power. I've never watched any of their stuff, but I appreciate them holding them not like to the fire, like they're not like going ham or whatever. But I appreciate that they're not just gonna let that shit go.
Is used in West Africa.
But you understand the point of getting it right, though. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you have to. As the brother on the team with the other, you gotta.
Absolutely. I will not make that mistake again. I'm begging.
I love seeing black men get jumped by black women.
No, hold on.
It's not me.
Listen.
Baby, my edges it's just triggering. Yeah, it's triggering.
Listen, richly deserved. And if I act a fool, check my black ass. That's fine. Word. No joke. Like I expect to be held accountable by my people, whether those are black folk or Muslims. So that is all love and it is all welcome.
I would love to see him have to make a decision between black folks and Muslims because famously Muslims do not love black folks. depending on what we're talking about. Which one would we pick on that one?
You're not going to get no pushback from me on that. So where was I? She will turn to Kamala, okay, and be able to say,
Kamala.
This person is actually a war criminal in the following respect. The ICC and ICJ.
Avocado, please think. I'm saying like Muslim, like I'm obviously not saying there aren't black Muslims. Not all Muslims are the same. The same way that, like, do you think all Christians like each other? I'm talking about, like, Saudi Arabia Muslims don't fucking like black people. You think Saudi Arabia Muslims like black people? I'm not saying that Muslims can't be black. What the fuck? How the fuck would you possibly take that from that, what I said? Oh God, what is this? This better be quick.
Is there another run for president in you?
I wish someone
Why is
else
this so
would
quiet?
run on a
Hello?
progressive agenda.
If
I've done it 3
Is
times.
this guy melting into his chair?
I think the voters need that choice. Otherwise, they'll forget about all the things that they've benefited from progressive policies back 100 years.
Who is that person?
Well, I think there could be many. I think Bill Grider, a very, very good writer, thinker. I mean, why don't we go outside the norm here?
Okay, I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. I don't care. It was not quick enough to make... I'm already way past time.
Have made rulings that the Zionist entity, the state of
No, I'm saying that Muslims famously don't love black people.
Israel, is an illegal apartheid state.
Not that those are inherently different. Like, I'm not saying about any essentialist like thing, like, oh, if you're Muslim, you are automatically racist against black people. Of course not. I'm just talking about the fact that he's trying to equate like black struggles with like he was trying to talk about how Muslims and black struggles were like the same, where it's like, no, they're not. They're completely different. Not that they don't intersect. That's what intersectionality is all about, right? But like, he was just trying to make it seem like that was just straight, like, obvious, like, yeah, black issue, you know, black issues are the same as Muslim issues. And it's like, no, they're not. The fuck?
Okay, conducting an illegal genocide in the midst of an illegal occupation.
This guy's just a psycho.
And that anyone that provides
I mean,
material
he's dressed like the Joker, so I guess that makes sense.
support to those things is actually complicit in war crimes. So you will say that there's a domestic terrorist on team red and a war criminal on team blue. One party on this stage.
So he's a campist. This is, again, disqualifying for any sort of politics. If you look at politics like this, you should not be in them. If you really think that, like, it's just about team sports to, like, this level, you're a fucking idiot, and you have no place being at all, like, on a ballot. Like, that's insane to look at it like this. He's not trying to, like, describe it in a way to somebody who doesn't understand it, because these people that are interviewing him, they haven't spoken often, but everything that time they have, they know what they're talking about. So, like, why would you say this?
Stage is not led by a criminal. One party on this stage wants to restore power to the American people, give a viable third.
Yes. Oh, I thought you meant the person like Kamala.
Party alternative. And just to return to the point, yes.
I think you wanted to restore power because, yeah, you want the whitest person possible to do it. Like, not that it's like about race here, but this is so funny that he's using like the race card in a way that you usually, like, a normal person wouldn't use the race card. I don't think if anyone of color, generally speaking, would talk like this if he didn't have anything else to provide besides that. It's really weird. Also, notice how he's talked way more than Jill Stein has.
I do want that shot at their chin. And I'm coming for Trump. Like, I've already got my game plan.
You have. Yeah, so they're not on the same... She fucked up. She picked him as the VP. She fucked up. This guy wants to do things for himself. Again, this guy is... We looked at his Instagram. He's a narcissist. He doesn't know how to be a VP. She just like, I guess, I don't know, picked a black guy, which again is also like racist on her part. Like, so stupid.
Laid out for Trump. You know, Trump thinks he can do nicknames. I already tagged AOC Pelosi, right? and
wow, that's hilarious. AOC Pelosi. What's the joke there?
And the
I love that the Breakfast Club, this podcast, I'm mad respect for that. They're like, what the fuck are you on about?
Reels have already started with that. So I'm coming for Trump. But the reality is that we have had to get the Democrats out of
You're coming for Trump when you say AOC Pelosi?
way because they're trying to keep us off of ballots. Yes, go ahead.
Question. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
When you talk about AOC though, and it sounds like you have issues with her, right?
Yeah.
Her whole thing is like you guys, according to what
Yo, her mic stand is crazy. Sorry, I don't want to take away. It seems like she's probably got a good point here, I assume.
though, and it sounds like you have issues with her, right?
Yeah.
Her whole thing is like you guys, according to what she's saying, that it doesn't add city council seats, state electives,
She's
and down
wrong.
ballot candidates.
She's wrong. 1,500?
Have you seen the flyer?
1,500 out of how many total? Though?
Yeah, because how important? Because
Jesus, let her finish her question.
You hear from the
her
people.
point
How
was
important
that
is that
we're not growing, we're not running for lower office, and that we disappear except every 4 years we come out for president. Those were her claims, and they are absolutely false.
What the fuck just happened there? That was so aggressive.
With her, right?
Yeah.
Her whole thing is like you guys, according to what she's saying, that it doesn't add city council seats, state
It
electives.
doesn't add city council seats, state electives. Okay. So she's suspending facts.
She's wrong. Ballot candidates.
She's wrong. 1,500?
And down ballot. No, she's right. So she's gonna get all defensive. Let's see how she goes.
Have you seen the flyer?
1,500 out of how many total? Yeah, because how important? Because you hear from the
her
people.
point
How
was
important is
that
that
we're not growing, we're not running for lower office, and that we disappear except every 4 years.
We're not going to. Wow. We're not going for lower office because we're gonna disappear. Is that what you just fucking said?
We're not growing, we're not running for lower
We're
office.
not growing. She confirmed that. Okay, we're not going.
And that we disappear except
We're not going for lower office because she thinks that you would disappear if you went for lower office. How much is that a great example of how much a grifter bitch that this person is? If you want to make actually political change, you have to be having your party in lower office. Wait, so what she just criticized her for, she just basically accepted. She was saying like, so what AOC said, well, she didn't even like make the criticism, she just quoted it. It was that AOC made all these criticisms, and then she's like, yeah, we don't give a shit about local office, fuck you.
every 4 years we come out for president. Those were her claims, and they are absolutely false and misleading. She should know better because she was actually campaigning for a local Green in 2017. She ought to know better. No, what she talked about was the Working Families Party, but that is not a third party. It is a second.
Bad VP pick. This guy wants to talk over her. Your VP pick should know their fucking place, and I don't mean that in a weird like to be like I don't know, subservient to you, but like let's be real here. If you're gonna have a VP, y'all gotta play your positions correctly. If you're like a pitcher, you can't have your third base. I mean, that's a bad example, but you get what I'm saying. He wants to be the main guy, which is a poor decision for her to pick somebody who wants to be the main guy. She's supposed to be the main person. Like, Kamala Harris was very muted for a while because she was, I assume, trying to hype up, you know, the guy. Insane.
What you mentioned was the Working Families Party, her third party, and what that
you
does.
gotta know your place in the like. This reminds me of like an actor where like he's like the side character or whatever, and she's supposed to be the main character, but like he might be better. He's like, I want to take over your position. Like he's like wanting to eat her for dinner here. It's like the understudy wanting to take over the main character, the main actor. It's like your ego's getting in the way, my guy.
That is a second ballot line. It's not a third party. It's a second ballot line for the Democrats, and it runs people who are already Democrats or they're independent on their way to becoming Democrats. And the main thing about working families versus true independent
working families, what the fuck are you talking about?
Corporate political grassroots parties. We are under
working families versus grassroots parties, okay?
attack by the Democrats in particular. And that's what, it's the Democrats.
Yeah, I'm a Democrat and I'm calling you a retard. I guess I'm attacking you.
It's not the Republicans. It's the Democrats who bragged starting back in March that they now had an army of lawyers to basically exercise lawfare, looking for trivial details where they could do a gotcha and get us thrown off the ballot, violating the spirit of the law to basically.
Well, it seems like the chat or the commenters are not happy with her performance.
Eliminate their competition. They have also advertised publicly for infiltrators and spies to mess up our ballot drives, and they also hijacked our public funding. $300,000. I know it's not a lot in the scheme of what Democrats and Republicans run on, but we're a grassroots, people-powered, low-budget party. That public funding meant a lot, and that's part of the reason why we're not on.
You know what's funny to think about? Like, if you want to talk about low budget, there's a really funny way that you could actually think about this. Or have you ever heard of the Blumhouse model? The Blumhouse model is basically spending not a lot of money, but on a lot of different potential things, projects. It's a movie producer, right? So like they'll only spend like, I don't know, like $10 million, but when one of them hits, you get like a lot of money for it. And I wonder if they wanted to do a low budget model that would work. But the thing is, that would work on like an independent level, or like not independent, like a low, like what she refuses to do. Of course, she wants to be in the big leagues, but like if she wanted to like have a bunch of smaller candidates that she would shop around for, and then like give not necessarily like a huge presidential level funding to, but like to give them just enough to see their campaign through and then work through, like that would be actually politics. But the thing is, she's too much of a fucking one grifter, and for two, that's Vladimir Putin, that's Jill Stein, stooge, where she doesn't give a shit about her party. If she wanted to, she could do stuff like that, like support local elections. Do actually a grassroots thing, because she literally said she didn't want to, she just said a few minutes ago that she didn't want to do grassroots level campaigning because that's too small beans. And now she's acting like, I'm sorry, what did she just say?
Of what Democrats and Republicans run on, but we're a grassroots people.
No, you said you don't want to do grassroots stuff because that's too small for you. Pick a lane, bitch.
Powered, low budget party. That public funding meant a lot, and that's part of the reason why we're not on in three states.
I just have a question, and I would want.
Right, I'm gonna like this interview because I think that obviously these two have been horrible, but I think the people, the other people on the panel have been doing great.
All of y'all to chime in on this. Is it fair to call the vice president a war criminal when she's actively calling for an end to the war in Gaza and she's just the vice president?
Well, it's lip service. I mean, she could.
What James Baldwin say? I can't believe what you say because I see what you do. You have the power to influence policy now. Sorry,
she's the
Jill,
vice president.
He talks over her. Oh my God, this is so cringe.
Yes. I mean, and to your
but she
point,
could at least speak out. She could speak out.
But she is.
No, she speaks out.
Yeah, he's right. She is.
She
in the same way that
that
Biden
they wouldn't
does.
let Palestinians on the stage. We talking about
not
the
a single one.
Where they held them off, where they slaughtering them like animals in Gaza, and then they muzzle them like animals at the Democratic
Even
National
when they are
Convention.
faithful supporters of the party and of their candidates, they still would not allow a single Palestinian to get up and talk about, just to humanize.
He's just waiting for her to stop talking so he can talk. They have no cohesion.
Palestinians.
So it means nothing to call for the end of war.
Oh my God, he's trying to talk to her, you asshole.
He's already doing that. He's already doing that. And Kamala Harris,
Imagine if Tim Walz did
spoke
that.
a little more from the heart about the plight of the Palestinians, but not any different whatsoever about what to do.
Okay, so what she just said that she wanted was she wants Kamala Harris to be more of a bleeding heart liberal. Again, completely bankrupt of any actual policy. She's not saying a weapons embargo. She's not talking about anything practical. She's just saying, I want her to be a little bit more bleeding heart about it. I want her to talk more. Sorry, what did she say?
Kamala Harris, spoke a little more from the heart about the plight of the Palestinians, but not any different whatsoever about what to do. Basically, she said that, our support for Israel is undying. It's
no, she very much said she wanted action. What the fuck?
It's an absolute, we will stand by Israel no matter what, come hell or high water.
Because both parties are bought and paid for by AIPAC.
Both parties are, but this guy is probably an anti-Semite, considering he's a black nationalist, or sorry, a black separatist. My guess is he's probably anti-Semitic.
Back in the war machines.
Those things tend to be very similar.
So that's the thing. Their souls are folded on tiny little pieces of paper that are buried deep in the pockets of Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Boeing.
Oh yeah, I could just say whatever. I also want action. I could say all of the things.
I'm not even playing with you. And let me just say this, because I don't know if I'm going to get the chance to say this in another venue where it will matter this much. As a historian of like anti-slavery resistance movements in West Africa and the diaspora, as a historian of the black resistance tradition in continental as well as diasporic Africa.
She really fucked up picking this guy. He does seem like he's rhetorically very talented, but like he's trying to overshadow her, and that's not a good VP pick. Whatever.
I am personally offended by the way that blackness is being weaponized in this electoral cycle in order to justify white supremacist genocide in Gaza.
That was crazy. He just said he doesn't like how blackness is being weaponized to support white supremacist genocide in Gaza. What? What is the white supremacy that's happening in Gaza? I think that there is a genocide happening in Gaza, but the fact that he would say white, like, way to undermine your own point, my guy. Now all I'm thinking about is, like, what the fuck does that have to do with white supremacy? Are you going to explain?
Expound.
Okay, so Malcolm,
and I'm going to follow that too. Go ahead.
So Malcolm X, my mentor, and I didn't meet him, but read the autobiography of Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Malcolm said
that is so LARPy thing to say. My mentor, Malcolm X, I never met him, but I read a book. Okay, so I've been reading Mehdi Hasan's book. My mentor, Mehdi Hasan. Come on, stop cosplaying.
Said of Zionism, of the Zionist state, the Israeli state.
Oh my God, he read the wrong parts of Malcolm X. Oh, he's an anti-Semite.
He said that this is a white
yeah, most Jewish Israelis are people of color. That is true, absolutely, avocado.
Jewish population, the Ashkenazi population, being given power by white imperialists to remove brown Arabs from their land. He said so.
Ooh, he took the wrong lessons from that one.
Therefore, Zionism is white supremacy. In 1979, Open Letter to the Born Again, James Baldwin said the same thing. He said the state of Israel was not created for the salvation of the Jews. It was created for the salvation of Western interests. Okay, so when you go through Kwame Ture, Malcolm X, James Baldwin, Toni Morrison.
Yeah, you're saying a lot of names.
Angela Davis, Assata Shakur. These are all people that cited the Palestinian resistance movement, not even to bring in the Africans, right? Not to mention Nelson Mandela, not to mention Thomas Sankara, who talked about Zionism as being the face of imperialism.
Okay, Malcolm X would be embarrassed of this guy. Let's be real here.
In the Middle East, right? This is what the black radical tradition taught me. And
because he's so bad at getting his position across, and he's cosplaying this.
The black radical tradition taught me that if we weaponize our blackness in favor of white supremacy, then we become apostates from blackness itself. Because blackness...
If we hold on, I gotta run that back.
Blackness in favor of white supremacy, then we become apostates.
If we weaponize our blackness in favor of white... oh, that's anti-Semitic rhetoric.
from blackness itself,
Apostate.
because blackness is not a race. It is an oppositional ideology to white
Sure.
supremacy. I'm a historian of Africa by training. Never before in human history.
That's a really weird thing to say, that you understand blackness in the American context when you say you're an African historian, because that has nothing to do with American blackness. American blackness is a cultural, that comes from slavery and of a lack thereof culture, because a lot of black people didn't know their roots. Which is why the black culture in America is so different than black culture in a lot of other that's why black culture itself even exists. Like, obviously, like, African culture comes from, like, your countries, right? But black culture is an American phenomena, and I don't understand, like, is he just not saying it correctly, or what? Like, but black culture in America is very specific to being in America, so I don't understand why he's bringing out the fact that he has, like, African roots, or African study roots, which is fine. Like, that's not, like, a bad thing to have, but it doesn't support any of your points. The idea of understanding what blackness is a very America-centric phenomena. And not that you can't use your experience from being a philosopher from Africa or whatever, but clearly this guy is American, right? Like, so why are we not talking about American blackness? Why are we going to Africa? That seems kind of racist, oddly enough. Where it just seems unnecessary to talk about blackness has nothing to do with Africa. Outside of, like, historical context of, like, slavery, sure. But, like, blackness is a very American thing. Of course it's good to know the history, but, like, are you just ignoring what I just said? The concept of blackness is not an African thing. The concept of blackness is in America, obviously how we're talking about it in this conversation is an American thing. The same way that the concept of whiteness is different because we're talking about America. All of these things are relevant exactly to say that it's good to know history of like, what is he on about by bringing up Africa? It doesn't really seem like it makes a lot of sense to me, but, like, I don't know. Let's go back. Let's see. If
Because blackness is not a race. It is an opposition.
He's right. Blackness is not a race.
No ideology to white supremacy. I'm a historian of Africa by training. Never before in human history had people speaking hundreds of different languages made themselves into one people, developed a common culture so that you and I can relate to one another.
About America. See, you know what's really interesting about that is he's not very patriotic about that, because that would be a great line if he was patriotic, but he's not.
You and I can relate to one another on the basis of a shared culture, and we got our Latin and Caribbean brothers and sisters, you know, especially Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, but also, you know, more broadly, right? That share in that culture. That is a miracle. It's never happened.
The thing is, I think he doesn't like white people.
Before in human history, because what happened is that an oppositional identity to white
He's probably oddly racist, like, I don't know, like Asians or something.
Supremacy came into being. And that is us.
This guy gives me like the same. Okay, so I constantly talk about how I get bad vibes from people, and I talk about this more than often about white people. But I'm getting racist vibes from this man, and I don't know against whom, but I bet he fucking hates Hispanics. I'm just saying that, like, he just gives me really bad vibes about, like, he's probably racist against somebody.
And when I see that identity now being weaponized to justify the most heinous genocide in our time.
Who the fuck is weaponizing blackness to weaponize genocide?
Harriet Tubman is rolling over in her.
When did 5 hours ago, White Bee? What the fuck? You gave up that easily?
Grave right now. Sojourner Truth is rolling over in her grave right now. Bell Hooks is
Sojourner Truth? Did you just say her name wrong?
It's genocide in our time. Like, Harriet Tubman is rolling over in her grave right now. Sojourner Truth is rolling over in her grave right now. Bell Hooks is rolling over in her grave right now. Who did I miss? Do you know what I'm saying? The idea that we would weaponize something as sacred as black womanhood.
Why? How is black womanhood? Can you explain, please? Please ask
and then
him
utilize this to justify blowing up Palestinian kids.
You tell me.
No, you tell me. No, you hear what I'm saying.
What
so
I'm
tell
hearing,
me. Yes.
The crazy thing is, I bet this works with white people, which is interesting to see, because I feel like they're like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Because I want to make sure I clarify before I respond to it, is that because Kamala is a black woman and she's running as a black woman, and she's not speaking out against things that you want her to, she's using her black womanhood to...
No, I think, so what
That is 100, she's right. That's 100% what he's saying. She's go off, queen. She was 100% right. That is exactly what he's doing. I don't know how we could possibly take that in any other way.
I saw a lot of black abolitionists of both sexes, of all gender identities.
Again, I think he's used to talking to white people who just, like, I don't know, feel guilty or whatever. But like, again, like, he's in a group of a bunch of black people, and they're like being very, like, they're letting him cook, and I think that he's embarrassing himself, because I bet these people aren't idiots, you know? They're not necessarily like politicians, but like, this is their job. So they're letting him cook, and they're like, oh my God.
I saw a lot of black abolitionists going hard in the paint at Joe Biden, right?
Black abolitionists? In the modern day, what is a black abolitionist? What? Okay, am I an idiot? What in the modern day would be a black abolitionist? Are we talking about a black... Because in the past, that would be a black person that's like for the abolition of slavery. What in this context would be... Are we still talking about that? Or do I just not understand? What is a black abolitionist in modern days? The prison system? Okay, well, that doesn't really make sense for the context of what he's saying. I guess I could look it up. Black abolition. The New Abolitionists, 2017. Okay, I guess I can't click on it. What the fuck is happening? Am I even live anymore? My internet's been dog shit for like the past like 3 weeks. It's probably because it's Texas. Oh, it's probably because it's like Pornhub. Texas probably doesn't want me looking at Oh no, this isn't what I'm talking. Okay, this guy's just on about nothing.
And then as soon as of both sexes, of all gender identities, I saw a lot of black abolitionists going hard.
No, this guy hates gays. I'm telling you, this guy fucking hates gays. I know this type of guy. He's a fucking Islamic extremist, like black nationalist or black he doesn't give a shit about black people. He just gives a shit about his... He's basically the same as like a Trump supporter, where it comes to the fact that I don't think that he really actually gives a shit about equality and freedom. I think that he's an absolute piece of shit. And I think he's got good rhetoric or whatever, but I think he doesn't actually give a fuck. Yeah, he said he was wifey. Of course he did. That's why he's trying to shittily cosplay like him.
In the paint at Joe Biden.
Which again, Malcolm X literally said that he regretted. He regretted having that position. So if you actually gave a shit about Malcolm X, you wouldn't be like this.
Right? And then as soon as Kamala was at the top of the ticket, radio silence.
He wants to be the black.
All of a sudden, people that you could count on that were solid through and through as abolitionists.
Like who? Okay, what is a modern abolitionist?
Suddenly become apologists for empire.
Have you thought about why?
Apologist for this guy is insane. And he wants it all to... Okay, by the way, we watched half of this. Jill Stein's been about like 3 minutes of it.
Yes, of course I've thought about why.
Why is that? Why is that?
The reason is that we have this aspirational hope that is related to like Black achievement and Black power and Black excellence. And it was
This guy's cosplay. Black power. If you're going to go in the way that Malcolm X did Black power, he, again, disavowed that. That means that he hates white people. Because that's what Malcolm X was, a Black separatist. He did not think that he was anti-miscegenation. He must think, if he was at that level of Malcolm X supporting when we're talking about Black power, he would be he thinks that white women should not fuck Black men, and vice versa. White men shouldn't fuck Black women, and, you know, whatever other combination. He's literally a racist. If he believes Malcolm X at that time, which Malcolm X, you know, because theory takes a while to adapt. Like, the idea of, like, this cancel culture bullshit, like, being adapted to, like, philosophy is stupid, and we're not even going to bother with it. But the idea that Malcolm X did believe in was anti-miscegenation, which what that means was Malcolm X said he didn't like Black people fucking white people. But he later in his life completely disavowed those things, and after, you know, because he was a philosopher to some extent, he was a very aggressive person, but he was, you know, not like a idiot. He was a thinker, you know? He was somebody who was on the other side of the coin to some extent of MLK. He wrote a lot. I don't have to like act like you have to read his mind. He wrote a lot on this, and he changed his mind on it. And it's not because like he like LOL JK, I'm changing my mind. He wrote about it, and he wrote about why he did it. But he used to be anti-miscegenation, which again is which is incredibly racist. It's like Black people shouldn't fuck white people, and Muhammad Ali was not I don't even really know in a fight. I guess Malcolm X. I don't know. These guys talk with the same tonality. It's weirdly yeah, because they're trying to affect, I think, a lot of the tones of the of like Malcolm X, but or like the Black Panther Party. But this guy is really bad at it. Because he also has horrible philosophy, and he's supposed to be the VP with Jill Stein, but he keeps talking over her. He's talked way more than Jill Stein has. Which, to be fair, who gives a shit about what she has to say? But I also don't give a shit about what he has. I'm more interested in her because she's got name brand. And again, was he at a dinner with Vladimir Putin? No, it's boring. He probably would be if he got the chance, because this guy is a grifter. He's like dressed up like the Joker. He's got like this weird like I love a Palestinian ass scarf or whatever. Like, this guy is such a LARPer. I hate this guy. He's horrible. Dr. Butch Ware. He's not. He's good at rhetoric. Like if he was giving a speech, I think it would be doing well. But I think that he's unrelatable to the point where he's completely electorally detriment. He's her JD Vance.
Weaponized in the Obama presidency. But so let me.
Could it be something else?
Please
could it
educate me.
Could it be? I know her.
Yes.
Could it be that she is someone who listens to voices on all sides? Could it be that when the opportunity, you can turn your head, but I've been in the room.
No.
You can turn your head, but I've been in the room, Dr. Wick.
So, by the way, these type of guys tend to be incredibly sexist. So she's a lawyer. She knows her shit. I did ban somebody by saying that she looked like a Black AOC. She does look like AOC. I just assumed that person, because of what they were saying previously, was being incredibly racist, and I don't give a shit. I don't regret that. I banned them only for a few minutes, but like, she does look like AOC. Whatever, doesn't matter. Point being, she knows her shit, and notice what she just said.
Opportunity. You can turn your head, but I've been in the room.
Oh, so she was probably like, these type of guys, especially the Malcolm X type, they're incredibly sexist.
You can turn your head, but I've been in the room, Dr. Ware.
Don't be disrespectful, Dr. Ware. You're not, though.
No, I was not.
But I'm just saying, I've been in the room.
I was actually not turning my back. I was looking to see what the response on the other side of the room was.
He's over here engaged.
Yeah, so he wasn't engaging with. She's only said a few things, and he would. So he looked to the man. That again, he just proved his sexism. When she was talking, he looked over to the man to see his reaction. He just fucking, oh my god, he just proved how sexist he was.
No, not even. I think
he's like the main host, but like the point being that like she's said most of. Hold on. She's been pretty fire.
Educate me.
Could it be? I know her.
Yes.
Could it be?
He said, educate me. And she's doing it.
That she is someone who listens to voices on all sides. Could it be that when the opportunity, you can turn your head, but
so she's doing her spiel, appropriately so, and then he looks to the man next to him.
I've been in the room. I you can turn your head, but I've been in the room, Dr. Ware.
Don't be disrespectful, Dr. Ware. You're not, though.
I was not
feeling the spirit, but I'm just saying, I've been in the room.
I was actually not turning my back. I was looking to see what this.
I was not turning my back. I was looking. So he did turn his head. She's clearly right here. So he looked over there.
What the response on the other side of the room was.
I wasn't interested in what you were saying to me. He was interested in saying what the response of the rest of the room is. He just confirmed that he does not care about what she had to say. She just cared about what the response of the rest of the people in the room were. Thank you for saying so directly that you don't give a shit about what she has to say. You just want to know what to say to make you sound good. Jesus
We're just over here engaged.
Yeah, because I can't see the people that are behind me. So no disrespect, Angela.
We're all having healthy conversation, by the way. Nobody's against anybody.
I agree.
I ain't never turning my back.
See, this is why I would never be able to be on this show, because I'd be like, shut the fuck up!
Angela Rye ever again. I'm gonna sit over. Let Ms. Rye finish her thought. Because the last thing that I need.
She said it's part of the strategy.
The thing that I need is this sister making me an enemy.
No, you're not making you. I knew you was going there.
Healthy conversation.
Healthy conversation. Because it's part of the strategy, friend.
Because I knew you was kind of getting your way to this, and it's very disappointing to see you do that and then say,
"Get away, Lauren. Get away, Lauren.
I'm still trying to
get away. What do we misconstrue?
So how I?
Remember how Jill Stein is here? The whitest woman in the world. That's so fucking funny.
Okay, you go ahead.
I would definitely like to hear.
Could it be
that someone... You're getting a little nervous. I understand, bro.
No, I'm straight.
Happens to me all the time.
No, I just had to like...
The drink had 190 calories. What the fuck?
Imagine
how embarrassing this is. Jill Stein is what I came to this channel for. She's like purposely edited out of most of this because she's embarrassing. That's kind of amazing. I love how she's basically getting shit on by this channel. Shout out Breakfast Club Power 105.1 FM. They literally are purposely shitting on her by not showing any of her during this. They're not doing any reaction shots. They're not trying to make her personable. They fucking hate her. And I think that's awesome. I support it.
You don't need to be protected from me. My words are not weapons, and actually, it's just really to dispel some of the myths. I think that since you all believe in polls a lot more than I do, there are a lot of folks that are saying that they still are trying to get to know Kamala Harris, even clearly how to pronounce her name.
Yep.
So what I would say is, it could be that they've seen an opportunity for negotiation, for hearing another perspective. I've been in the rooms with her on justice reform issues, and others helped to convene those rooms where she's been more open, because what we do know about how politics works is that it can't just...
It's her hand. They gave her a number. They gave her like a one of those things where you have to connect the dots. That's what Jill Stein's doing down here.
Be this wish agenda. I love a lot of what you all have on your agenda. I'll call it the after 7 ready or not agenda. I'll give you the sun, the rain, the moon, the stars, and the mountains. But there's really
who called it a wish list? You mean the same people that spend $1 trillion of...
She needs to tell him to shut the fuck up.
y'all's money blowing up.
He's doing a sexism. I can tell this guy's a fucking sexist because she has been, again, we're not necessarily like an hour into this, but we like, how much has she said in 35? He keeps talking over Jill Stein, his running mate. He keeps talking over her.
This guy would have been an N-word sayer if he would have gone into 4chan instead of Tumblr.
He probably went into both and it's still an N-word there. But like, you gotta not be the main guy, you know what I mean?
Up other people's kids are saying it's a wish list to have.
The thing is also, it makes you seem incredibly sexist because he's talking over Jill Stein. So, which again, destroys your, if his fucking, positions weren't enough, he's absolutely unviable as any useful politician because of his clear sexism. Even when Jill Stein is supposed to be his presidential pick, he can't shut the fuck up and he talks over her. It's not even like that that like he's talking too much. He literally talked over her multiple times, which is why he's still this guy's a sexist.
Have actual social programming?
I mean, he's a fucking Muslim, so of course he is.
Sorry, that's propaganda, man. That's propaganda.
It's not propaganda. I'm saying it because I've worked on Capitol Hill. It's very difficult to get what you're trying to achieve. So just for example,
Jill can talk about.
Let her fucking talk, you ass.
What you can do just from the executive
Dr.
office.
Ware,
yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Just for an example, I'd love to know how many voting members in the United States House of Representatives?
So we have been blocked. The Democrats throw us off the ballot. They interfere. They put.
Oh, her cutscene got triggered. Oh, this is
spies
the clip that I saw.
And infiltrators on her campaign.
How many voting members?
Well, is she like a white pet? I think literally that guy probably thinks of her as a white pet. And I mean a little bit properly so, but like, holy shit.
Compare us.
No. Answer the question. How many voting members in the United States House of Representatives, Republican, Democrat, and Independent? How many total?
All right. I'll be honest. I thought it was like 300. But again, I'm not a presidential candidate. Yeah, it's her VP pick, Wipey.
How many total are there? What is it? 600 some?
No, it's 435.
Great job. Great job, Jill Stein. Thank you for being incredibly wrong. And yeah, she's an idiot.
Plus 100 in the Senate, right?
100. Yes, I said House of Representatives.
Okay.
100 in the Senate. Of those, 435 in the House.
Serious candidate, by the way.
Of the 100 in the Senate. How many? Just one moment. I'm not trying to put you on the defense. I'm just saying this because the Hill is my passion. That's where I grew up as a professional, right? How many of them are Green Party members?
Okay, I know where you're going with this.
No, I'm not going
you
anywhere.
are attempting to show.
She won't even engage with her.
Oh, that the Greens are powerless. I want to make the point.
I was not trying to show you're powerless.
Well, this is usually part.
What do you think? You're on Fox News? You're on the Breakfast Club. They want to engage with you, you asshole. Engage with her.
Part of that argument.
What was the point you were trying to make, Angela?
Just look as bad as possible, you whitey.
What was the point?
I want to call her a fucking cracker.
Before you rebuttal, Dr. Stein, what was the point?
I want to know how many voting members of the Green Party in the House or the Senate currently exist.
Currently, there are none. However, if you look.
It's almost like you don't give a shit about politics. You can't just be the president and have no parts of your party. She made a great point. Again, that woman is a lawyer. She knows her fucking shit. You always got to be scared of a woman lawyer, especially a black woman. They know their shit. Of course they do. That's their job.
Look at the American people. You know, how many are voting against the genocide? Hardly any.
Dr.
How many
Stein.
are voting for health care as a human right, which would actually save us $500 billion?
I don't know if they have directly, but the answer would be the same.
year. We, the people, are not represented. So not being there is not a strike against.
Yeah, it seems like you're an ineffective party. She's getting them.
The Green Party.
Okay, and that's fine. How many of them right now, based on, and I called it a wish list, it wasn't to be offensive, is I have a wish list too. I got one in the ideal man I want to.
It's dismissive to refer to a party platform as a wish list.
What I'm saying is,
it's
it's not dismissive. Hear my heart. Right?
But
I heard your heart on the mispronouncing of Kamala. Hear my heart.
All right.
Because there are none that currently exist, that means you got to have allies. Who are your allies in the House and Senate
Excellent
to help
question.
to see if y'all would have just.
See, he's so sexy. He wants to talk over her. She's obviously talking to Jill Stein because he's a nobody, right? Jill Stein has, famously been with Vladimir Putin. She has some status, right? So clearly she wants to talk to Jill Stein, but this motherfucker won't shut the fuck up.
Slow down a minute. Y'all had guns blazing.
I told her it's a healthy conversation.
Right? Like, come on. We got to do basic
Child,
math.
please let them finish.
He wasn't talking to me when he said that.
But who are the allies? Can you name some of your allies in the House and the Senate that would help to get this very aggressive agenda done?
So let me tell you how the agenda would get done.
Yes.
For one thing, we
Can
need.
you name
Let
some of
her
your
answer
allies,
the.
Yes, my question. I want my question.
And it will get answered.
Names.
Yes.
We talked about this.
So what I want to speak to.
This guy is not doing a hype man. He's coming off very sexist, and he's coming off overbearing. Very bad behavior from him when it comes to like being like a VP like support pick. Like it doesn't come off like he's like being helpful. It's like infantilization of what he's doing. He's coming off like he has to like cradle her, which you don't have to. Jill Stein can fucking be a retard on her own. I think that just doesn't work at all.
Specifically is town hall meetings, which used to require representatives to meet their districts. They don't do that anymore. They meet with their donors. Well, they largely meet with their donors. They're meeting with their donors like 90% of their waking time. They're hardly ever
Well, if we're talking about Kamala Harris, her biggest donors are the people. So yeah, she does do that.
Going to town hall meetings. I mean, we've been out there on the campaign trail, and when we mention this, we get nods all around the room, especially from the opponents of genocide.
Nods all around the room? That's a really weird thing to say.
Or from those who are demanding health care as a human right, or from those who want rent control across the country.
Hey guys, vote for me. I want rent control. I want 15-minute cities. I want to actually turn all of your buildings into sandstone so they look like Croatia. Because I guess I could just say whatever the fuck I want.
So that we can actually have secure housing in this country. There are so many things that the American people are demanding, but our elected officials are accountable to their donors. So
So I choose to not have any donors, which means I can't do anything. Vote for me. Because a donor, it would still be you. I'm sorry, I don't want money from you. What, you don't agree with everything I have to say? I don't want your money then. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Unserious loser. Literally. I'm sorry, it's Jill Stein again, as our friend here that said, like, you ever want anything? No.
About a catch-22 here. You have a very difficult system to
sucks to suck, bitch. If you want to actually make any goddamn change and give a shit about like America, you gotta play the fucking game. I'm sorry, you don't get to just be like, nope, I get to just like sulk in the corner. I get to do that because I don't have any investment of being a political person. That's what I get to do. I get to be an annoying asshole on Twitch and complain about stuff. You take money from people and lie to them when you do nothing. You're doing literally the same thing I'm doing right now. I'm probably doing more than you are when it comes to actually like telling truths. What an asshole Jill Stein is. Absolute cunt.
Change. How do you change it? And it only changes in a crisis.
That's true.
When did the
I guess I have done more than her where I don't take money from the Russians. I haven't been in a dinner with a shit ton of fucking Russians and Vladimir Putin and clearly only exists to fuck over the Democrats. Amazing.
third party come along.
I'm actually more politically efficient by not being a fucking Russian shill. Literally all of you are more, everyone in this chat, unless you are for some reason a Russian shill, which weird, but all of us are doing more than this cunt is doing, because we don't take fucking money for Russia to talk about a bunch of bullshit.
That is, it was the Republican Party, which was the abolitionist party. It entered into the scene, basically right before the Civil War. And they had been preparing for it, running, and before the Republicans, there were other abolitionist parties. But it's a long road to get there, and you have to work to get there.
What?
And, and then suddenly they burst on the scene.
She has to talk about slavery because what? She's talking to a bunch of black people? Why the fuck is she talking? I'm sorry, what?
Are accountable to their donors. So
You're talking about accountable to the donors, then she starts talking about slavery? That's so fucking racist.
You have got a catch-22 here. You have a very difficult system to change. How do you change it? And it only changes in a crisis. Yep. When did the third party come along? That is, it was the Republican Party, which was the abolitionist party. It entered into the scene, basically.
So again, so she's talking about what?
Right before the Civil War, and they had been preparing for it.
Well, okay, so that was equally ineffective because the Civil War happened. So what's your point?
Running, and before the Republicans, there were other abolitionist parties. But it's a long road to get there, and you have to work to get there. And, and then...
Okay, but obviously the environment of having a third party back then was not the same as it was now, as she, in her own statement, said. So, yeah, again, worthless?
Suddenly they burst on the scene when the time was right. And
they suddenly burst on the scene when the time was right. Yeah, that's not how that works. And she knows that. Or maybe I think Jill Stein might actually be crazy. I think that she might unironically just be mentally unwell. I don't think this is necessarily grifting in the same way. I don't know. Maybe it's a 50-50?
Right now, we know that the American people are clamoring for other options. The other options, like namely us, we are the major option.
Picking this retard seems like a really bad decision.
On the ballot across the country, we are being denied airtime. We're being censored. We're being silenced. We're being canceled effectively, very much by an explicit plan through the
No, I think you're just bad at this.
Democratic Party, which they've actually been explicit.
Oh, it's not. It's a Democratic Party, huh? It's not the Republican Party.
About.
I understand that, and you've repeated that today, Dr. Stein. What I'm trying to say is, with the the very aggressive agenda you have, I said to you all, I agree with a lot of what you have there. What I'm talking about is, as a political
you keep hearing that guy wants to keep talking over her. That guy is such a liability. He wants to be his, I don't know, his MLK or whatever.
Strategist.
Let me tell you, on day one. Who are you? Let me tell you, on day one.
I've been on panels before, and the worst guy is the guy who wants to talk over you. When you're working as a team, because you should work as a team, right? But he doesn't want to work as a team. He wants to talk over her.
They're your allies.
On day one, we stopped the genocide. Okay.
He's annoyed that she's talking. Look at his face. He's annoyed that she's talking.
There's a lot. Allies.
So there's a lot that
I'm trying, but I can't get an answer to my
question. Your question, however, denies the power that the president has. As the executive,
God, he's horrible.
The president has a fair amount of executive authority to actually begin the process. So that process begins with stopping the genocide on day one, which happens with a phone call. It's happened before. This absolutely will happen, especially if we...
Okay, so she thinks that she can just do the Trump thing where she just says stuff. And I guess that works? Question mark?
Invoke the weapons embargo.
So would you say that you don't need allies?
On issues where you have executive authority, what you need are allies among the people, but you don't need the votes in Congress
That's awesome. That's gonna definitely make a lot of sense. She doesn't know anything. She didn't even know how many people were in fucking Congress.
Much of this agenda to declare a climate emergency, which we have. The Colorado River is about to shut down. We got people dying from.
I think your VP should never look like they're annoyed because they can't talk. Because if your VP looks annoyed that they're not able to talk, that means that they think that you shouldn't be the leader. Great pick. Great pick.
From heat, from inadequate food supply. People can't afford their food. Yet
as soon as he talks, I'm ending the stream. We're not getting through all of this. I am so tired. It's so after time. I just could not believe how messy this shit got.
Source of food in the U.S. Is in deep trouble right now. The Colorado River is within 1 to 2 years of shutting down. That supplies the California agriculture system.
What do you mean?
It's drought. It cannot get into the system. It can no longer get through the outlets coming out of Lake Mead, which is where you have this big reservoir. It's almost too low to make it into the irrigation system to reach many states, but especially California agriculture, which supplies half of the fruits and vegetables for the U.S. So you think food prices are bad right now? Just wait.
Vivek, right? All right, I'm ending stream then. I was about to anyways. You know what? Fuck you.